Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Ghost Files Live. This is a very special episode this week. It is March 8th. It is Friday. Welcome to the stream. We're going to be reading a little script called Friday the 13th. Look at that white blown out screen script you can't read. Friday the 13th 3D, written by Nick Antosca back in 2015. It was supposed to be directed by David Bruckner and was unfortunately canned by the studio, which was at the time, let me see, I'm going to try and turn this off real quick. There we go. Now I can think. It was actually canned by Paramount Pictures, which ended up canceling this version and doing another version in 2017 that was also ultimately canceled. But this is a fan favorite script. If you have not read it, if you've never heard about it, you're in for a treat tonight. This is, I believe, a very special script, and I think we were all unfortunate that this film did not get made. And again, hats off to David Bruckner and Nick Antosca for this script. I think this is like a first draft-ish, I think, version, and this wasn't the final version they were going to make for the film. They never made it any further than this. But this would have been a fun film. We can talk about it after we're done. Tonight, I'm going to be joined by a bevy of friends from films that we've all starred in together and produced together. And so some familiar faces, and I'll bring them on in a second. But yes, I'm just going to let some people kind of roll in. I hope everyone just kind of sits back and enjoys this tonight. What else about this script? It's very 80s and cheesy. It's got a lot of that stuff. It's very brutal. A disclaimer. It is also very graphic. It is very sexually graphic too. There's a lot of sexual innuendos and just straight up like filth coming out of these characters' mouths. So just be prepared for that. This is a hard R film. They were definitely going for that. And the other cool thing to remember, this was in 3D. And as I read some of the screen direction tonight, really try to imagine what they were going to do with the 3D camera. With this film, I think it's something you really got to think about as you're trying to visualize it, as we're describing it out. We're going to have a series of people coming on this evening who are going to be playing different roles, including a special guest, which we will only reveal when it is time for their character to enter the chat. So anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to bring on our group of people. But first, I am going to make a couple changes to the page, which starts there. And ooh, look at that. Here we go. And now the Brady Bunch is about to take effect. So let's bring everybody on. Where are all my people? There's boop, 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 boop. And I seem to have lost one of my compadres. I think I'm missing somebody. Where's Joe? I mean, I think I lost, who do we have, everybody? Let's see. No, I'm just missing James. So where did James go? That's very odd. He must have logged off. So anyway, we're missing James Sweet, but while we're here, we're going to switch the order up, starting with Kylie up here in the left-hand corner. Please introduce yourself and the character you'll be playing tonight.
I'm Kylie, but I go by Haunted Hippie on YouTube, and tonight I'm playing Kirby.
Okay. Lisa?
Hi, I'm Lisa Sorensen, and I'm going to be reading Vanessa and Nurse Nicole Newton, and you can also see me in Jason Rising.
That is true. So we got all the thing up. So now we're going to go back over to James. James, now that you're back in the stream, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm James Sweet, and I will be playing Brad in Duckworth.
Cool. And what's a film that you made?
Oh, well, I made Jason Rising.
Yes, everybody. That is the director. That is the director of Jason Rising there. To my left is another Jason Rising alumni. Sir Dan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Dan Kyle. I will be reading Frank, Dylan, and Deputy Wyatt. And I played Jason in Jason Rising.
Above me, Lauren, a Never Hike Alone 2 vet.
Hey guys, I'm Lauren Wickel. I'm playing Sloan, and yeah, I got killed by Jason in Never Hike Alone too. It was amazing.
I like your shirt.
Thanks, reppin'.
And in the lower left-hand corner, I'm not mirrored, so I gotta remember that I gotta go opposite. But in the lower left-hand corner, my wife.
Hello, my husband. Hi, I'm Elena
doing?
Latham. I'm going to be reading for Amber and Linda.
Yes, we were husband and wife in Judy
In
many
Judy.
moons ago. And then
Many
below
moons.
me, all decked out in red with Ghost Jason lingering over his shoulder.
Hi, I'm Joe Gallo, and I'm an esteemed cosplayer. And I'm
And
reading as Kevin Beamer.
Yes, but you also help put together quite a not just a cosplay, but the photography and everything that your site puts together. Lots of really cool stuff. I would consider you a super fan. And so with that, this rounds out the cast. Is everybody ready to go?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Let me see. I really haven't been reading comments, and we're probably not going to get to comments to the end of the thing. But hey, keep on commenting, leave comments, streams. We'll have some fun. We can go back and read them later. At the end of the reading, we'll do a Q&A. We'll talk about the script. We want to hear your thoughts. Want to hear, what you think of it. But without any further ado, let me get the mood going. Here we go. Friday the 13th, 3D. Open on Crystal Lake. A perfect afternoon. The end of summer. The whole world seems captured in amber. We're gliding slowly over a lake's serene surface. A humid, dreamy, nostalgic song plays somewhere. George Michael's One More Try. The song of a young, aching heart. Rusty leaves float in the lake. A sunken tree branch juts out like a prehistoric limb. And then we come upon a foot attached to a body floating in water, though we don't see the rest of it just yet. Pruned, limp, and lifeless. We move up a young woman's pale, bare leg. Over her swimsuit, a blue one piece with a white cross. She was a lifeguard. Now we come to her face. Eyes closed, lips slightly parted. Brunette hair spread in a watery halo. From above, looking down at the floating body, but we hear splashing, labored breathing. Ripples appear. Then a boy, 11 years old, swims into frame. Swimming urgently to the body, close on the boy. Almost there, kicking hard, a few more strokes. He lunges, grabs the dead girl, and as she turns and looks at him, not dead.
Oh, nice of you to show up.
This is Sloan Higgins, 18, the cynic, a camp counselor teaching junior lifeguard training. Cute, normal looking. Sloan, you're supposed to be unconscious.
Sorry. Here I go. Rescue me.
The boy gets her in a clumsy hold and starts towing her back. Moments later, the boy drags Sloan through the water to the edge of the floating deck, an anchored platform in the middle of the lake. Sloan comes back to life and grabs the deck's edge.
How do you do?
New reveal. Campers floating on the deck, 11 or 12, mostly boys, in love with the other counselor training them, Vanessa Fontello. No, Vanessa Font. It's a Vanessa Fontanello, very Italian. The goddess, a girl most teen guys would cut off their toe to fuck. She checks a stopwatch.
Oh, shit. I forgot to hit start. These jerks keep distracting me.
Sloan finds Vanessa's very existence a little annoying.
Why don't you be dead for a while?
Vanessa tilts her head. In her lifeguard swimsuit, she could be on Baywatch poster.
Fine, I'll go float in the dirty lake.
A chorus of protests erupts from the boys. No, stay, hang with us. Sloan grimaces. Vanessa turns to the boys.
Some junior lifeguards you are. What if I need mouth to mouth?
Go, get out there, we'll save you. Vanessa shrugs and stands up. We hear hollers of approval. Reveal 3 male counselors lifeguarding from the top of a rickety but surprisingly high water slide on a dock near shore. Ogling Vanessa. Sloan sighs like, really?
Look, they mature as they get older.
Boys.
She dives in, off-zone, flinching from her backsplash. Exterior dock, water slide day. Now we're with 3 guys, sitting on the rickety water slide with an aerial view of the lake. They are Kevin Beamer, 18, the awkward smart guy, young John Cusack, sensitive, sarcastic, and self-aware. Our every nerd. Brad Beamer, 18, the golden retriever, Kevin's fraternal twin brother, handsome, athletic, at ease, super likable. And Wes Weezer Samdow, 18, the stoner, genial dude, smoking a joint right now with the guys as they watch Vanessa. I'm in agony. She's killing me.
You know what the beautiful thing is? In some parallel universe, another me is actually dating her right now.
I love your optimism.
Weezer glances down at the kids swimming in the roped-off area. We note Andy, 9, is apart from the others. awkward loner. Hey, Splash, so I know you're alive. Yo, Beamer, how many years off your life would you give to Bone Vanessa? Brad smiles, silent, amused, cool.
How come you'll call him Beamer? That's my last name too.
He's Beamer. You're Kevin. That's just the way it is. Kevin laughs good-naturedly while taking it in stride. Then,
I had the stream last night. I get to college, and Marilyn Monroe is waiting for me naked in my dorm room. I mean, she's beautiful, but like, I know Marilyn Monroe's dead, and it's like this awkward social pressure situation. I'm expected to bone her. But like, do I? On the one hand, it's Marilyn Monroe. On the other hand, she's a zombie.
Brad and Weezer don't even look over. You boned her. Exterior Lakeshore, same time. Meet one of the last trio of counselors, 50 feet away at water's edge, watching the youngest campers, ages 8 to 9. They are Amber Jensen, 18, the straight A student, ambitious, vivacious, goal-oriented, very sexy, but plays it down. Greg Wiederhorn, the smart jock, can't resist taking a joke too far, loves attention, and Kirby Butters, the religious girl, but not a prude. She's cute, witty, and very curious. Greg kicks water playfully at the girls. He points at Kirby. You have 1 day to live. Tomorrow night, lightning strikes, you're dead.
Nope, still wouldn't.
Okay, you have 1 day to live, and Johnny Depp and Patrick Swayze begging.
I would still die a virgin, but I would make out with Swayze first.
From shore, Ian Duckworth, 26, shouts. He's the head counselor, kind of an awkward stick in the mud.
Yo, rope ladder isn't going to take itself down.
Greg makes a jerk-off motion. Amber shakes her head and laughs.
I'll do it.
Amber walks to the shore. Greg turns his back to Kirby. 1 day to live. Swayze's on deck. Jesus himself walks out of this lake and says, free pass, do it, go wild. And he personally guarantees it will be amazing.
He wouldn't walk out of the lake. He would walk across it.
Exterior dock, same time. Back to Kevin, Brad, and Weezer. Brad watches Amber on shore, tugging cut-off shorts over her swimsuit, admiring.
This really was a perfect summer.
Kevin raises an eyebrow. Maybe yours
Maybe
was.
yours was.
No stress, good times, and some super, super cool girls.
Kevin thinks, gazing in the lake. His POV, Vanessa, in slow-mo. Water glistens on her body. Inspired by Brad, he says,
I'm going to do it. We got 2 days left, and I'm going to tell her how I feel about her.
She knows, dude, because that's how all guys feel about her.
You guys just want to bang her. I actually like her, like as a person, a girlfriend.
If you tell a girl like that you like her, forget it. I mean, this is Vanessa Fontanello.
I think there's a possibility of a real connection.
I don't know. She seems kind of into that guy Dylan from town.
No way. She's too smart for him.
Brad's distracted again, watching Amber. She walks into the woods. Brad gets up and tosses Kevin his lifeguard whistle.
I'll be back.
Kevin knows exactly where Brad is going and gets annoyed.
Really? I'm supposed to watch all these kids by myself?
You've got him.
Brad points at Weezer, who's stoned. Kevin gestures like, seriously? But Brad's already climbing off the slide, exasperated. Kevin looks back out at the lake at Vanessa. Exterior woods day. Amber comes to a big tree with a rope ladder. She looks up, shielding her eyes from the sun. We see movement in the background. A figure emerges. Brad. Amber hears him, looks back.
Hey, you.
Brad walks up and they kiss. These two are dating, still in the heat of a summer romance. Off this, we cut to exterior dock day. Kevin's watching too many kids at once. A little girl, Molly, 10, frog, swims up, smiling a little shyly. Hey, Kevin. Sadie wants to know, do you have a girlfriend? She giggles. Kevin sighs, distracted, and looks out at Vanessa again. Meanwhile, 30 feet away, Andy, the odd loner kid, walks up to the rope boundary of the swimming area. Beyond it, he sees a feather floating. Pretty. He wants it. He ducks under the rope and goes toward it. Exterior floating dock, same time. A freckled boy is talking Sloane's ear off. On the action park water slide, there's this kid, Tony, who broke his arm and his leg.
Well, Chris, we call that Darwinism.
Neither of them notice Andy way in the background, close on Andy in the lake. Spinning water as he gets closer to the feather, we go underwater to see he is on tiptoe with the lake bed muck. He takes another step, and there's nothing there. Andy slips under the surface, unnoticed, drowning. Exterior woods day. Brad and Amber are making out. He kisses her neck, teasing.
We're going to have so much fun when I visit you at Princeton this fall.
He puts his hand up her shirt. She's about to say something when we hear a faint scream come from the lake. They look over. Exterior of the dock, same time. Kevin looks away from the giggling girls. Kids point and yell, "Over there, in the lake, he's drowning." He looks where they're pointing. Empty lake, ripples.
Who? Where?
"Hey, came up. We saw him." Kevin jumps up but freezes. Off his panic indecision, we go to the floating dock. Sloan and Vanessa get to their feet, hearing the shouts.
Oh, shit.
Stay here.
Sloan and Vanessa dive in and swim like hell, but they're way too far. Hard cut to Crystal Lake underwater. Andy struggles just under the surface, bubbles rising around him in a glimmering shroud as he thrashes. And we see that the lake is not that deep here. The kid is going to drown in like 7 feet of water, a small figure, kicking futilely. Exterior edge of the woods, Crystal Lake day. Brad and Amber burst from the woods. Panicked, the kids are pointing at the lake. Brad looks. Where are they point? What are they pointing at? A kid's hand breaks the surface. Briefly, Brad sees what's going on. He's closer than anybody, and he runs for the lake. He dives in, and he swims like hell. Lung-bursting effort. He reaches the spot and dives under. Painful. Seconds. Splash. Brad resurfaces, alone. On Kevin. Kevin's freaking out, horrified. Oh, God. Oh, no. On the lake, Brad looks around. Murky water. He dives again. More time, then he pops back up with Andy's limp body. Exterior shore, moments later. Kevin, Greg, Kirby, and Amber rush up, campers trailing them, panicked voices. "Oh my God, is he alive? Is he okay?" And as they laid the kid on the shore, "Is he dead?" And then Andy coughs, hacking up water. Alive. Jesus Christ. Everybody erupts. Thank God. Holy shit. Kevin, more relieved than ever than he's been in his entire life. Exterior dock. A few minutes later, Sloan and Vanessa swim up to the dock, leading their group of junior lifeguard trainees. They climb out breathlessly, and we follow them as they run up to the shore toward Crystal Lake continuous. The picnic table area where people cluster around Andy, the bedraggled kid, and sitting on the table, a towel around him. He looks like he's in shock. Nurse Nicole, 32, listens to his wet, rattling cough. Nicole is deadpan, seriously stoned, and very over this job.
Sounds good. Did you know lake water is basically just vitamin C?
Kevin watches from a few feet back with Weezer. Duckworth's nearby. He eyes them with scorn.
I can't believe you guys. You were supposed to be watching them.
Kevin swallows hard as Duckworth walks away. Then he glances over and sees Vanessa and Sloan overhead this exchange. He looks away, ashamed. Brad steps up beside him.
He was drowning, and I froze.
I bailed. I'm the asshole.
I'm pretty sure you saved his life. I'm the asshole.
Guess what? It doesn't matter. He's fine. No harm done.
Brad claps him on the shoulder and walks off. Off Kevin, pale and a little shaken on what could have happened. We go wide to see everybody. Voices mingling, the lake lapping on the shore, and over this tableau, a chyron. Camp Crystal Lake, New Jersey, August 1988. Exterior Camp Crystal Lake, dusk. Montage. Dusk falls over the camp. Established geography. The 6 cabins and mess hall, centered around a grassy commons, a campfire site a little ways off. Cicadas call, frogs croak, fireflies glimmer in the soft darkness. In 3D, literally in the script. A burly groundskeeper, Frank, hacks a gnarled tree branch with a machete. We may see that machete again. Ooh, that was weird.
Frogs croaking.
The frogs croaking. A kid catching a firefly. A kid catches a firefly. She runs to show Sloan, and now we see all the kids are being herded toward their cabins by counselors. An exhausted end of the day feeling. Shouts of, "Okay, time for bed." Duckworth pulls Brad aside.
The parents get here early tomorrow, so make sure everybody takes it easy tonight and crashes early, okay? I'm relying on you. Of course, man. Got it. Thanks, buddy.
Brad maintains an expression of complete sincerity, and as we cut to someone's POV of the campgrounds, someone's lurking in the woods, watching the camp, watching one of the counselors walking in the darkness, Vanessa. We emerge from the woods, following Vanessa towards a cabin she enters. Through the window, she can be seen taking off her t-shirt, a casual, unobserved moment. She gets a stick of deodorant from her dresser and rubs it under her arms. Now she grabs an asthma inhaler, shakes it, and inhales. She pulls on a long-sleeve t-shirt, and we leave the window, moving towards the opening door as interior cabin. Vanessa senses something and spins with a jolt to see a handsome guy leaning in the doorway. Dylan Farber, 19, a local, born and raised, smart but rough around the edges. It was his POV we were in.
So, sorry if I scared you.
Vanessa
Fuck
Eisen.
you.
Go ahead.
Fuck you. You're just like my brothers.
Oh, you got brothers. Do they protect your virtue and stuff?
They're 10, and nobody has to protect me from anything. I just jumped because nature's weird at night.
So you're scared of the dark.
I'm not scared of the dark, jerk.
You sure? Because when I was coming through the woods just now, I think someone was following me.
Shut up, Dylan. Why do you keep coming back here anyway?
With a flourish, Dylan produces a plump baggie of weed.
Because they keep inviting me.
A joint being lit. The smokers inhale, the joint glows, wide reveal to see that as Weezer takes a puff, they're sitting around the blazing campfire, all of the counselors plus Dylan, drinking beers, smoking joints, move around the campfire, sampling conversation, seeing as the counselors like a buffet. Kevin watches Dylan pass Vanessa and joint, and Vanessa sit back skeptically, but then bring it to her lips and inhale. Brad holds out a joint in one hand and toasts a marshmallow with the other. So Amber plucks it off the stick and eats it. Kirby politely refuses a joint from Greg. Sloan watches, observant, sipping a beer. Greg stands, chugs most of his beer, then raises it grandly. Here's to a summer, surprisingly decent summer. Even if Kirby's still considering my generous officer to handle her virginity situation.
There was never any consideration.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go ahead and say we had fun, and we even managed to keep all those miniature people alive, barely, mostly thanks to Brad. Greg sits drunkenly, drinks more, and suddenly gets grave. Brad, you know, if you hadn't saved him, you could have ended up dead too. You guys, and all of us.
What do you mean? Dead how?
You know the story about the murders that happened around here, right? I mean, the details?
Oh, I read about this.
What murders?
You guys don't know this? How it happened?
How what happened?
Greg grins. Realizing this, Dylan listens quietly. At the original Camp Crystal Lake, right across the lake, there was this lady who cleaned the cabins. This was like in 66. Her husband ran off a few years back, so she'd bring her little boy along and have the counselors watch him. The counselors didn't know much about her, just her name, Pamela Voorhees. He pauses, letting the name hang in the air until quietly.
Voorhees. Her name was Pamela Voorhees, and she was a cook.
Wait, he's not making this up. There were murders.
Wait, how do you know this?
We're right across the lake.
Vanessa nods, buying it, paying attention only to Dylan.
So what happened?
So what happened?
Kevin clocked how interested both girls are. Dylan shrugs. He tells the story casually, but everyone's riveted.
Pamela Voorhees was a single mom trying to make ends meet. During the school year, she worked as a lunch lady, and over the summer, she cooked at the camp. And one day, the counselors were watching her little boy, and he drowned in the lake. That boy was all she had. People stopped seeing her around except at church and at the camp, 66, free love and all that. She'd seen the counselors smoking weeds, sneaking into the woods and getting it on.
Brad glances at Amber, raises his eyebrow.
And she got it in her head. That's why they weren't paying attention when her son was drowned. So when the camp reopened a year later, she came up here and killed 6 counselors before they stopped her.
They all start
That's
talking at
such-
once.
That's such
Whoa, so if
bullshit.
Andy had drowned,
Cut off her
his
head?
mom might have to kill this all. Brad puts his arm around Amber, reassuring her.
If any old lady comes after us, I'll just punch her in the face.
So brave.
How'd she kill 6 people?
She was quiet.
They say her ghost still haunts the woods.
No, they don't.
Actually, they do, but don't worry. As long as you're not scared of the dark, she can't get you.
Dylan reaches around her back. To squeeze her other shoulder. Vanessa jolts. Kevin and Brad both notice the flirtation.
Stop. So immature.
They're making it up. There were murders, but not at the lake.
We're not making this up.
No, I read about this.
6 people our age got killed. Right across the lake. The old camp is still over there.
No, it's not. That was more than 20 years ago.
Why don't we go over there and see?
Everybody stops. He makes it sound so reasonable.
Go across the lake now?
No way. I believe in ghosts.
I believe in bad vibes.
I think it sounds fun.
I think Brad's a genius. Brad nudges Kevin and gets to his feet.
Yeah. All right. Let's fucking do it. Let's get the canoes.
Kevin gets up too, unsure why Brad's so into this.
Let's go. Let's do it.
This is so dumb.
Dylan stands too and looks at Vanessa gravely.
You should probably stay here.
Oh, give it a rest.
Exterior campgrounds moments later. The group, minus Weezer and Kirby, sneak toward the lake holding beers, joints, and flashlights. Laughing, shushing each other, Kevin and Brad walk ahead.
Why are you pushing this so hard? Duckworth will kill us if he...
Why, when you take a girl to a scary movie, what happens? She grabs your arm when she gets scared. You tease her a little, and later that night, you get laid.
That hasn't been my experience, but what's your point?
Are you dense? Vanessa. Make sure you're the guy whose arm she grabs.
He punches Kevin. Go get her. Then he puffs a joint and quietly beckons the group to come around the cabin.
Guys, quiet. Sound carries on the lake.
A hulking man stands in their way. Everybody jumps. It's Frank, the burly, bearded groundskeeper. Those who have joints, including Brad, hide them behind their backs.
What are y'all doing?
Hey, Frank. We thought we'd maybe go across the lake and check out the old campsite if there's anything there still.
A beat. Frank looks slowly at Brad and holds out his hand like a cop confiscating something. Uh-oh. He wants the joint.
Give me that fucking thing.
Brad glances at Kevin. Kevin's like, do it. Brad guiltily hands Frank the joint. Frank holds it, looking at them, and then takes a long drag. He sails blissfully.
Come on. I'll show you where it's at.
Frank walks towards the dock, beckoning them to follow. The counselors share holy shit looks and are highly entertained. Then they follow him, stifling laughter. What the fuck? Frank's like a redneck Buddha. Exterior cabins, night. Weezer and Kirby walk back to the cabins.
Night.
Weezer goes in for a kiss. Kirby leans away to avoid it.
Oh.
I figured, just checking. Stars are just like so weird. Exterior lake night. 2 canoes glide through the still water. Mist hangs over the lake. Frogs squid. It's eerie, atmospheric. You're staring at me, James. There's a blue canoe, just like Jason Rising. It says it in the script.
That's
Kevin,
right.
Vanessa, Dylan, and Greg, they paddle quietly, excited, jittery. Kevin turns to Vanessa, smiles.
So, are you pretty scared?
Why? Are you?
Burned, Kevin shuts up. Vanessa turns to Dylan.
So, how did she kill them?
Various ways. They weren't even the ones who let her son drown. They were just at the wrong camp at the wrong time.
Just like us.
What if it did happen to us? Do you think we'd get away?
I'd put that old lady in a headlock and walk her around like my dog.
She'd cut your throat before you knew she was there.
A townie versus counselor vibe under the back and forth. Me and Kevin would defenestrate her. No hesitation. Right, Kev? Off Kevin's non-communal shrug. Defenestrate and decapitate. I'm from Ocean City, bitch. Green canoe. Brad and Amber, Sloan and Frank. Brad turns to Amber, whispers.
I ever tell you I saw a ghost once?
I saw it too. The ghost of your mom.
Frank, did you live in Crystal Lake when the murders happened?
Knew the kids who got killed.
Really? Did you know Mrs. Voorhees?
She kept to herself. Her and that kid. I'll say this. Kid was a real mama's boy. Didn't talk to anybody but her. And real shy. Most of the time you saw him, he'd be wearing some old Halloween mask.
Beat. Erie Lake sounds. A loon calls. Casually, Frank says.
We never found his body, you know.
Amber turns around, freaked, off Sloane's fascination. Exterior lakeshore, rotted dock, night. Now again, 3D movie here. Kevin stares at the half-rotted dock, and as the canoes glide up, it looks sinister, like the bones of a dead animal. The counselors get out. Dylan holds out a hand to Vanessa and helps her. Kevin stumbles as he steps out, soaking his own foot. Dylan grabs his arm.
You all right there, bud?
Kevin mutters thanks, hating him. They drag the canoes on the shore. Greg takes out a flask, drinks. Frank goes to the trees and beckons.
This way.
He walks into the woods. They trade looks and follow him. Exterior woods, night, darkness, forest sounds. Their flashlights illuminate dense trees, a thin path. Apprehensive excitement in the air. This is where it all happened. Right here. This is where they all died.
No, it's not. No, it ain't.
Time to bone some ghosts.
Settle down, dude.
They pass a filthy scrawled out sign, no trespassing. Just beyond it, another one, keep out. And then still a third, go home, have a beer, don't come back here.
Very poetic.
Thank you.
Kevin lets out a surprised laugh, realizing Frank wrote it. Then he hears a branch break in the woods. He stops.
Did you guys hear that?
The others stop, listening, then a sound. Huyuk! I heard that.
Sorry.
Vanessa has hiccups. Amber giggles strangely, all nerves. They are starting to walk again every few steps. Then Kevin sees Sloane's silhouette ahead of him, starts moving faster, as if he's going towards something. Kevin hurries after, and they leave the woods to see Frank standing on a rotted wood sign on the ground that reads, Camp Crystal Lake.
Welcome to Camp Crystal Lake.
We are in. Exterior, the old camp. Night. The others emerge, taking in the campground, sagging decrepit cabins, overgrown, withered. They look at it with fearful fascination.
It's just like our camp.
Dylan notices Greg lighting a joint, shakes his head. We blaze here today in the honor of fallen Camp Crystal Lake brothers. Lady didn't like smoking weed and getting laid. Well, I hereby propose we stage a fucking category 4 orgy on her grave where she's buried at. Who's with me?
She's probably buried in the local cemetery.
The other counselors are stifling laughter at how fucked up Greg is. Frank surprisingly seems the most amused.
Greg, relax, man. You're wasted.
But this is Greg at his worst, who takes it way too far. Fuck you, Mrs. Forganell Berzies. They all flinch, laughing uneasily. They shout. The shout seems to echo. I'm Greg Whiterhorn, and I'm a polish your grave with my ball sack, bitch.
Oh my God, dude, shut up.
Yo, we should do it right on the spot where she got killed, right where her head landed at. And I'm going to concentrate that spot with my jizz.
Barf me out.
Gross, Greg.
Pamela Voorhees, she never gave head till the day she died. Good epitaph, right? Yo, that's why your husband walked out on you, honey. Learn to slurp.
Dude, excessive.
Frank bizarrely is cracking up. He finds this hilarious. Fucking lunch lady smell like Salisbury steak. Come get me, bitch. Imitating Full Metal Jacket. I will gouge out your eyes and skull fuck you. Killing kids for smoking weed. Fuck you. Fuck you, dumb kid that couldn't swim. Fuck your fucking old. What's her name? Miss Vorhazel?
Voorhees. Pamela Voorhees.
Fuck you, Pamela Voorhees! As he shouts, echoes through the night. Shots of the dense woods and the silent lake. Dark, holding secrets. A slight breeze stirs up. The trees rustle. The lakes ripple. Like a storm is coming. Back at camp, Kirby's in her PJs in bed, reading Delta of Venus by Ioannis Nin. When she hears the breeze, she sits up, looks out the window, and something makes her shiver. Exterior old camp night. Back to Greg, the echo of his shout fading. Then, crash! In the woods behind them, everybody flinches like a motherfucker. Freezing. Silence. Then, nervous laughter. Everybody talking at once. Holy shit, what was that? Literally, a fucking tree just fell down as they all relax, realizing it was just a breeze knocking down a branch. Thunder rumbles faintly.
Let's check this place out before it starts pouring.
The group starts towards the
Try
cabin.
pulling hard on your... Try pulling hard on your tongue. It stimulates the vagus nerve and relaxes the diaphragm.
Thanks. I'll wait it out.
Meanwhile, Sloane glances up at the clear night sky, listening.
I love storms.
She glances at Kevin. I hit the wrong button. She glances at Kevin, but he's not paying attention to her. She heads towards the cabins with the others, except Frank, who lingers behind, glancing around at the woods, at the darkness where that branch has crashed. He takes out a cigarette, sticks it in his mouth, about to light it, when he stops and stares into the darkness like he sees something. Frank leans forward, looking closer. Interior, abandoned equipment shed, night. A door screen creaks. Greg steps in, peering around. Brad and Amber follow. The place is full of old sports equipment from the 60s and 50s. Greg wanders ahead, going behind a bunch of stacked boxes out of sight.
What's back there? Greg?
Amber and Brad venture further in, and Greg lunges out, almost giving them a heart attack, because he's wearing an old hockey mask.
Congrats. You just got a staph infection on your face.
This isn't a modern goalie mask. It's from the 60s, the early days of goalie masks. Simple and minimalist, stark white, just black eye holes and a few small ones around the mouth. Does kind of smell weird. Interior, abandoned camp, night. The door hangs off its hinges. Sloane peers in. Old bed frames stand lined against the walls. Mattresses rotted away. The floorboards look splintery. Sour air, cobwebs. Sloane enters. Vanessa behind her with Dylan. Kevin last. They look around, afraid to speak. Vanessa keeps hiccuping until Dylan whispers in her ear. Kevin watches from the corner of his eye. Her hiccups stop. Sloane walks on slowly, looking at the rotting beds quietly.
I read some of them were stabbed like 80 times. Some of them died right here in the main cabin.
Vanessa looks at the floorboards. She sees old indentations and deep cuts in the wood underfoot. She says nothing. They walk amongst the beds, noticing knickknacks and pictures beside them under the skin of grime, artifacts of life.
It's crazy. I mean, they had their whole lives ahead of them.
Kevin sees a yellowed photo pinned on the wall, looks closer.
What is that?
Sloane comes over. She takes the photo down. It's an old black and white photo from the 60s. A little boy wearing an old Mickey Mouse mask.
I think this is the boy who drowned. Her son.
She turns it over. Scrawled on the back in faded pen, Jason, August, 65.
Even though he died in 57.
She sees something on the floor and bends to pick it up. An old charm bracelet. Dirty. She dusts it off. Vintage. The kind of thing a young woman in her 60s might wear. A young woman in the 60s might wear, not in her 60s.
Look, it must have belonged to one of the girls.
Maybe it came off when she died.
Sloane considers it a moment, then puts the bracelet on her wrist, fastens it, looks at her wrist, thinking.
Hey, where'd they go?
Sloane looks around. Dylan and Vanessa are gone. Exterior back of the abandoned cabin. Night. Kevin and Sloane emerge from the back of the cabin. It faces woods. Sloane shivers. The air is chilly. They start around the cabin when branches crack in the woods. They stop.
Hello? Guys?
No answer. They start walking again, and more branches crunch in the woods. Footsteps as if someone is mirroring their movements. Kevin and Sloane stop again, unnerved.
Yo, Greg.
Yo, what's up? Kevin and Sloane look at each other. The fuck? Kevin takes a few steps in the woods as they're mimicking footsteps. Kevin walks cautiously towards the trees.
Hello, Brad.
He takes another uneasy step. Now he's close to the woods. This is Kevin's point of view. He stares into the darkness, trying to decipher shapes. Impossible to tell what he's seeing, and then something moves. A shape. Bigger than any of the counselors. It moved like a person. but quietly, lurking. Kevin jumps back, jolted, really freaked out.
There's somebody there,
You saw somebody?
right there, watching us. Come on.
They walk hurriedly around the abandoned cabin, and with every step they hear heavy footsteps in the woods. Exterior old camp night. Kevin and Sloan come around the cabin to see the others all accounted for, a little cold and uneasy. No, we don't point this out, but Greg is carrying the hockey mask.
There's somebody else there.
We saw somebody in the woods.
It's probably a black bear.
I saw a person.
What'd they look like?
I don't know. Let's go, okay? Where's Frank?
Everybody looks around, realizing Frank is nowhere to be seen. Kevin looks back towards the woods. Was that Frank?
I haven't seen him since we got here. Hey, Frank! Frank!
Greg and Brad shout too. Thunder rumbles. Not the theme song. Greg and Brad shout too. Thunder rumbles. Kevin looks at the ground, noticing something at his foot. A single cigarette unlit. He doesn't know it was Frank's, but we do. They walk out of the woods without Frank. The breeze has picked up. Kevin and Sloan are spooked. Greg's drinking. It was Frank trying to scare you.
And he's just going to let us leave without him?
Abruptly, they stop, staring at the shore. Then Dylan laughs.
Guess that explains that.
Reveal, only the blue canoe remains. The green one is gone. He took the canoe. See, Kevin?
He would have had to circle around.
We can't all fit in one canoe.
She's right. 2 of us got to walk. I'll go. Anybody else?
They all look at each other uneasily. Nobody else volunteers.
Fuck it. I like walking.
Brad nods. Cool. The others start getting in the canoe. Vanessa hesitates, glancing at Dylan.
Wait, Brad, you go with Amber. I'll walk.
She wants to go with Dylan. Brad glances apologetically at Kevin, who sees any hope he had slipping away. Dylan smiles. Vanessa smiles back. They start walking together along the shore. Off Kevin's unhappiness, watching them go, we go to the exterior lake night. The lone blue canoe glides across the lake, on Kevin sitting miserably. Brad whispers to him.
Sorry, man.
She liked him. It's fine.
Kevin watches Dylan and Vanessa. Their flashlights beam walking along the shore. Her faint laughter reaches him. Frank's such an asshole, man.
It wasn't Frank.
Right. It was Pamela Lorkey, or maybe her kid. Probably mad I jizzed on her grave. Predictable.
He doesn't have a grave. They never found a body.
Kevin watches Dylan and Vanessa reach a place where trees come right up to the lake. He loses sight of them as they go into the woods, and Greg starts singing. The off-key tune of the 4 and 20 Blackbirds. Little dead black boy swimming, little dead lake boy swimming in the lake. Mama's dead lake boy drowning in the lake.
Greg, shut up.
It starts raining lightly. The lake surface becomes a blur.
And now I'm wet.
Hey, what's that?
She's pointing at something floating up ahead, a shape on the lake surrounded by rain. They draw closer and see the other canoe floating empty.
What the fuck?
They glide past their flashlights, beams illuminating it. Eerie, the canoe just drifting.
Well, that's not creepy at all.
Then a brief shriek comes from the shore, from the woods where Vanessa and Dylan disappeared. They turn to look. It was half muffled by rain. Could have been playful or not.
Vanessa! Vanessa!
His voice lost in the rain, off their lonely canoe, hard cut to the lake shore, a full-blown storm now. They drag the canoe ashore, drenched. We go to look for that. We should
go look for them.
Dude, he just grabbed her ass.
You just want to see them doing it in the rain.
She grabs Brad's arm and they head for the cabins. Greg follows. Sloan glances back at Kevin, still by the canoes in the rain, looking towards the woods. Kevin's POV in the woods linger on the rainy darkness out there, impenetrable, a sense of uncertainty. As Kevin turns and runs towards the camp after Sloan, we go much closer on the woods, panning across the dark trees, listening to rain drum the leaves. We still see nothing, but there's an implication of something in the darkness. Interior girls' counselor's cabin night. Kirby's still in bed reading. She looks up startled when Amber and Brad burst in, soaking wet and eager to hook up.
Hey, so Think we could have the cabin for a little while?
Oh, I was, yeah.
Kirby books it out the door. Brad and Amber start making out, pulling off wet clothes as they head for the bed. Exterior girls' counselor cabin night. Kirby leaves as Sloan hurries up through the rain.
Sorry, sexiled again.
I'm starting to feel left out.
They dash off across the campground's thunder rumbling. Interior guys' counselor's cabin night. Kevin sits on his bed, kind of depressed. Weezer reads a Punisher comic. Greg offers Kevin a beer. Yo, sorry for being a jackass before. I get carried away. Kevin takes the beer and waves his hand. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Kevin takes the beer and waves his hand.
It happens.
A knock at the door, then Sloan and Kirby come in soaked.
Hey guys, we're gonna steal Brad's bed for obvious reasons.
Seriously? Is nobody worried Vanessa's still out there?
I'm pretty sure she went with Dylan so they could hook up in the woods.
There was somebody out there.
It's fucking Frank. She's fine. I'm sure they have a raincoat.
I just hope he knows what he's doing.
He doesn't have to do anything, man. She's an nympho. You can tell. Pure bed succubus. Guaranteed. Like right now, she's riding him like as we fade down Greg's deranged, horny rambling as girls jump in Brad's bed and Kevin looks uneasily at the stormy window. We cut to somewhere else in the woods at night, deep in the woods, tracking past dripping leaves, dwindling rain. We hear husky, intense breathing, faster and faster, almost orgasmic, until the trees part, revealing a long forgotten gazebo, overgrown with weeds and vines. In it, two people having taken shelter. Vanessa and Dylan. They're lying together, half undressed, their wet shirts draped on the railing. It's an oddly romantic and tender image, like something out of a fairy tale. Vanessa's jeans are unbuttoned and Dylan's hands between her legs, her breath quickening, getting more intense until she's about to come, and then Dylan slows down, teasing her.
Why are you slowing down?
I have the condom. Should we?
So I'm not as experienced as you probably think I am.
She is surprisingly shy and vulnerable now. Dylan nods and gently takes his hand away.
Wait, you don't have to stop.
But I want you to be thinking about it all day tomorrow before our date.
We're going on a date?
Pick you up around 9.
You're sweeter than I expected.
Don't tell anyone.
She sits up, looks around. The rain has nearly stopped.
I should get back.
They get to their feet and pick up their wet shirts to wring water out of them, laughing. Rack focus to reveal a figure in the woods behind them, a silhouette watching. Now rack focus back to Vanessa and Dylan getting dressed. Vanessa touches Dylan's face and tenderly kisses him.
I think I like you.
I'll walk you back.
It's okay. It's like 2 minutes that way, and your car is the other way. See you tomorrow night.
As she turns to leave the gazebo, we rack focus again to reveal that figure in the woods is gone. We watch Vanessa walk into the woods where we just saw the figure. Uh-oh, she's fucked. Exterior of the woods a few minutes later. Vanessa moves through the trees. She stops. Did she hear something? She looks back, shines her flashlight. Just woods and darkness until something crashes out there. Vanessa flinches and hears birds scatter in the woods. Just a branch falling, right? She starts walking again, faster now, intercut with another part of the woods, same time. Dylan walks quickly in the other direction. He moves quickly. He knows the woods. He hears a branch crack. He looks back, nothing. He keeps going. He starts up a ridge. It's uneven, rocky terrain. He shines the flashlight at the ground ahead to keep his footing. We're cutting back and forth between Dylan and Vanessa here, creating a sense of uneasiness. One of them is in fucking serious danger right now. Who is it going to be? Vanessa hurries recklessly towards the camp, paranoid. The rustling forest unsettles her. She keeps glancing around. She quickens her pace, branches clawing at her. Then she staggers and cries out as someone grabs her leg. Dylan continually steadies up the ridge, the flashlight beam illuminating brambles and rocks ahead. And we go back to Vanessa. She fearfully yanks her leg free from the thorns in a wild blackberry bush. She exhales with a relief, picks a berry and pops it in her mouth and hurry on as Dylan lets his flashlight guide him up the rocky ground ahead bleached in its beam. And then Dylan jolts as the flashlight beam comes up upon a pair of boots. There's someone standing right in front of him. He lets out an involuntary cry, raises the flashlight, and we see this from behind the huge figure who's facing him, a figure completely silhouetted by the light. Dylan staggers back and goes tumbling down the ridge. We're falling with him, a long, brutal, disorienting spill, slamming rocks till he tumbles to a stop in a gurgling stream. He's badly hurt, broken ribs, busted knee, face oozing blood, and the flashlight's gone dark. He moans, mud in his eyes, and he hears footsteps in the woods, someone coming down the ridge. Dylan glimpses a huge, strangely proportioned figure coming down the ridge. The figure's movements are stiff, uncoordinated, as if it's unused to its own body. Fuck. Dylan grabs the flashlight, turns it back on. It won't work. He struggles with it frantically. Finally, the light flickers back on, just in time to shine in the huge figure's face. We see this only from behind the figure, his huge, dark silhouetted head, and Dylan's reaction of horrified surprise as huge, pale hands lunge down and grab him, yanking him out of frame as he starts to scream. Exterior, Crystal Lake, night. Vanessa emerges from the woods and looks back into the drizzling darkness. Did she hear a scream? No. It was nothing, right? She heads towards her cabin. Sunrise over Crystal Lake. Pale golden light gleaming on the still lake, birds chirping, forest coming back to life, wet and renewed. Exterior of the dock, water slide. Weezer perches atop the rickety water slide, smoking a bowl as he watches the sunrise. Zen, this is his dawn ritual. Interior, guys counselor cabin dawn. Weezer returns presently high. The others are getting up, painfully hungover. Kevin and Greg in the bed, Sloan and Kirby on the floor. Kirby is blue.
Ugh, why are you up so early?
Kev? Joe, you're muted.
Oh, he does this every day. It's a crime against nature.
Weezer sits on his bed, tosses aside the Punisher comment he was reading last night. Kev, can I raid your stash? He reaches under Kevin's bed to grab a duffel bag of comics, but the comics all spill out, revealing a ton of 80s Playboy, Penthouse, and Hustlers among the comic books. Awkward beat, everybody looks at his porn. Kevin sighs.
I wish I had some quip to make this less embarrassing, but it's early, all right? I'm ill-equipped.
Interior girls counselor cabin's done. Vanessa sleeps, hugging her pillow, smiling in her sleep. Then she wakes, feeling sunlight, remembering last night, happy and noticing Brad and Amber in Amber's bed, nuzzling, semi-nude, half covered. Quietly, Vanessa gets up, puts her flip-flops on.
Don't mind me.
Amber covers up, laughing as Vanessa sneaks out. Once she's gone, Brad playfully tugs the covers down as we cut to a nude centerfold. Very 80s, fake tits, feathered hair. We're in. The guys' counselor cabin. To reveal Kevin's embarrassment, they're all reading his porn mags. Kirby turns the centerfold sideways, mesmerized, fascinated. Sloan holds up a centerfold of a blonde with fake tits.
Seriously, this does it for you?
I'd make that lady my wife and honor and respect her. Such an earth goddess.
FYI, guys who think girls look like this generally suck in bed.
You've done a lot of comparative research there, Sloan?
Enough.
I bet none of you guys have ever seen a naked girl in real life.
I had a threesome with my French and Spanish teachers. I'm trilingual. Please, at home they call me the Horn. Ugh, my head hurts. Ugh.
Your mom calls you the Horn?
Only virgin you here is you, Kirby. Well, you and Kevin. Kevin looks embarrassed. The girls look at him.
Are you a virgin?
I've done stuff.
Just not the stuff that makes you not a virgin.
All you guys ever talk about is sex.
I'm surprised, though. You could get laid.
Kevin sighs, both frustrated and secretly flattered.
It's cool, Kev. Virgins unite.
Kevin cringes. Meanwhile, Sloan has been sifting through the porn mags and comic books. She's found a spiral notebook full of handwriting. She's reading, intrigued.
Kevin, are these short stories?
Hey, give me that.
Wait, I want to read this.
No, it's private.
He grabs for the notebook. Sloan reluctantly gives it up.
Can I read a page?
No.
Okay, it's cool. no worries.
Greg studies a hustler spread. I'm very disappointed in you guys for not making last night's old camp orgy happen. Would have been a really nice memorial.
You wish. And so does whoever was there watching us.
Ugh, so creepy.
Greg rolls his eyes, make a dismissive noise. Kevin gets up, heads for the door.
You laugh now.
Where are you going? You're going to see if Vanessa got home safe? Hurry, she's just waiting for you to make sure she's okay. Kevin flips him off without looking back, and we go to exterior outdoor showers. Vanessa is showering, eyes closed, washing her hair. The shower area is private and shadowed, flanked by big trees. Squinting, she grabs a nubby bar of soap and scrubs herself, but the soap slips to the floor. She kneels and jolts, seeing muddy work boots through a gap under the shower stall. Someone standing right there in the shadows. Vanessa gasps and stands up to look over the top, but the figure is already stepping out of sight of the building.
Frank? What the fuck? Frank?
She hurriedly turns the shower off and grabs a towel. Exterior Crystal Lake dawn. Vanessa emerges from the shower dressed, hair wet, angry, rattled. She walks around the building. No one is there. She looks around. Lake, woods, cabins, all quiet. Vanessa's weirded out. She begins to walk amongst the cabins looking around. We see the storm's effect, branches strewn, huge puddles, mud everywhere, a power line down. Every time Vanessa rounds a corner, we expect the figure, but then behind her in the background, someone out of focus steps into view, watching her. Vanessa keeps walking, unaware. The tension rises. Until Vanessa glances back, she gasps, but we rack focus to reveal it's only Kevin. She looks at his feet, flip-flops.
What are you...
Shh.
Cut to, shot, large boot prints in the mud. Kevin and Vanessa stand by the showers looking at the boot prints, the figure left behind.
Somebody was watching us last night at the old camp, too.
You're sure it wasn't Frank?
This guy was bigger than Frank.
Moments later, Kevin and Vanessa walk slowly through the camp, looking around. Kevin spooked, but also thrilled at the out-of-nowhere chance to hang out with and be brave for Vanessa.
You think it's the same guy?
I think if he saw us out there last night and he came here to watch you shower this morning, that's very disconcerting.
Maybe he figured since we trespassed on his spot, he was gonna...
Look.
I don't know.
The girl's cabin, boot prints in the mud under the windows.
Oh, God. He was looking in our window. Oh, fuck. That is creepy.
Kevin follows the tracks backwards through the mud toward.
He came from the wood. It's the same guy.
Vanessa follows, both of them looking at the woods, spooked.
I'm fucking freaked out. Should we call the cops? Ouch! Fuck!
Standing on one leg, Vanessa slips her right foot from the flip-flop and lifts it up to look at her soul. Close on her foot, a hornet, still buzzing, its stinger embedded in the soft pink flesh between her toes. Off that, we cut to the interior nurse's cabin, day. Vanessa sits on the table as Kevin holds a piece of ice to her swollen foot, an oddly intimate moment.
Ow! Thanks.
Hornets are diurnal. They shouldn't be active at dawn. They also don't usually sting if you're not threatening them, or not threatening their colony. What?
You're just very smart.
Kevin tries to suppress a smile, but he's almost glowing.
Hold still for calamine lotion.
Cut to a montage of station wagons driving up. 80s wood-paneled station wagons coming up the gravel road into camp, kicking up dust. Over this, Ian Duckworth's voiceover.
What a summer. We swam in the lake. We shot bows and arrows. We had a talent show.
Interior mess hall day. Duckworth is addressing parents and kids at his final assembly.
But most of all, we made new friends. Not just friends for the summer, friends for years to come.
I feel like I'm watching an episode of South Park. This is amazing. Pan across the faces of Kevin, Brad, Sloan, Vanessa, Amber, Greg, Kirby, and Weezer all standing in the back as we cut to the last station wagon driving away. Late afternoon. A cloud of dust lingers in the air as the last station wagon rumbles from camp. We are exterior Crystal Lake, late afternoon. It's a lot of headers here, Nick. As all the counselors, Duckworth, and Nurse Nicole watch the last car disappear the gravel road into the woods, that's it. The kids are gone. Camp is over. Let the games begin. Wheeze! Do the honors. Weezer reaches to light the joint for him, but Duckworth snatches it out of Greg's mouth.
When we leave tomorrow, the camp needs to be like a whistle, which means you guys are going to take my truck to town and get every single thing on this list so we can break the place down.
Duckworth hands Brad car keys and a list, starts walking away, then turns back.
And see if you can find out when they're going to get the phones back up.
Interior, exterior pickup truck moving minutes later. The counselors are crowded into Duckworth's truck as it pulls out of the camp and heads towards town, kicking up gravel. Interior nurse's cabin minutes later. Nurse Nicole reads a Bright Lights Big City paperback eating Junior Mints. Duckworth enters. She looks up boredly.
Want to get high and play strip fish?
Why not?
Exterior town, Main Street. The pickup parks on Crystal Lake's Main Street and the counselors hop in. Brad tears the list into strips and gives each person one.
Back here in an hour.
Brad and Amber walk off together. Kirby, Weezer, and Greg all head off too. On Kevin, with Vanessa and Sloan in the background, he looks around and notices a red brick building down the street, Crystal Lake Sheriff's Department. And with that, we're going to bring in our 9th member of tonight's stream, Mr. Ron Sloan, to play Sheriff John Marco. And Dan gets to come back and play Deputy Wyatt. So here we go. Interior, Sheriff's Office, dusk. Meet Crystal Lake Sheriff John Marco, 40s, a redneck, uniform bulging at the gut, seated behind a cluttered desk, thinking. His right-hand man, Deputy Wyatt, 30s, a doofus, stands nearby, clipping his fingernails. Sheriff John takes a slow sip of coffee and shakes his head.
Well, you can't shoot pool with a rope, and you can't cook an egg in a shoe. I'm afraid I can't do anything for this one. Don't you all clear out tomorrow anyway?
Reveal, he's talking to Kevin, Vanessa, and Sloan.
I don't feel safe. Can you please take this seriously?
It's trespassing at least, right?
And whoever it was, he was out there at the old camp in the middle of the night. Don't you think that's weird?
So were you all.
That's a good point, Wyatt. Yeah. Now, look, I ain't going to stand for any weirdness out there. So stay away from the camp. There's stories about that place. Right, Wyatt?
Oh,
the
yeah.
stares at him blankly a beat, then, oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yes, there is.
Well, people say it's haunted. Well, by this and that and, the other thing. Old Miss Voorhees, or her boy that died, or the kids that she killed. But the weirdest one is how? That boy that died, he didn't actually die. That he ran off to live in the woods up there, and he's been there ever since. But every now and then, well, he comes down to find himself a pretty girl or two.
Sloan, Vanessa, and Kevin stare at the sheriff with arms folded and matching expressions of "go fuck yourself."
Wyatt, didn't you say you was hiking once and you saw his shack?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I thought so.
Now you're just fucking with us.
Miss, if I was your mama, I'd stick a bar of soap in that mouth and make you say the Lord's Prayer. Now you get out of here, you all. Go! Now!
Interior, nurse's cabin, dusk. Duckworth and Nurse Nicole are half undressed playing Strip Go Fish. Talking heads, trippy sax and violins blast their smoke in a bowl. He takes off his remaining sock.
Why are you so good at this? Go fish!
Huh. Is this cached?
Don't panic. We're going to be okay.
He heads out of the cabin, leaving her alone. Now revealed behind her, unseen, someone's at the window looking in. The glass is dirty. We can't see the guy's face, but he's huge. Interior, guy's counselor cabin, dusk. Duckworth enters and starts going through Weezer's stuff and finds a baggie of weed. He steals a little. Meanwhile, sax and violins is faintly audible from the outside. We can only imagine what it sounds may be covering it up. Exterior, Camp Crystal Lake, dusk. Duckworth walks out into the twilight, holding a little confiscated weed. He walks back towards the nurse's cabin and stops, startled to see the huge man standing at her window, still just looking in. Duckworth blinks. Note, although the man is not Frank, Watchful viewers may notice he's wearing Frank's clothes.
Hello?
The man doesn't turn. Duckworth picks up a shovel and starts toward him. Interior, nurse's cabin, dusk. Nurse Nicole is exactly in the same place, music blasting, unaware of the huge man partially visible behind her through the dirty window. The huge man turns abruptly, presumably hearing Duckworth. We don't quite see the huge man grab Duckworth, we just see a glimpse of the beginning of a struggle, more implied than seen. All while Nurse Nicole sits nodding off a few feet from the window. Exterior, Camp Crystal Lake, dusk. We watch from a distance as, to Saxon violins, the huge man calmly drags Duckworth across the camp towards the woods. Duckworth is alive, struggling weakly, but he's been bludgeoned and can't do much. The huge man also drags the shovel that Duckworth picked up earlier. In the gathering night, we still don't get a good look at the huge man's face. Exterior woods, dusk. Duckworth struggles harder as the huge man hauls him into a dark woods. But this guy's a beast. Duckworth and the huge man are small figures in the distance, obscured by trees, dwarfed by the indifferent woods. We see most of this from a distance, or from behind, or close on Duckworth, still hiding the huge man's face.
Now get off! Help! Help!
The huge man lets go of Duckworth, who grabs a rock and starts weakly clubbing at his attacker's legs. This is almost comically ineffectual. Duckworth tries to drag himself to his feet, but the huge man hurls him back to the ground and plants his boot on Duckworth's chest, pinning him down, and we go into a very wide shot to watch this kill from far away, all the more terrible because it's hard to see. The huge man places the shovel blade on Duckworth's chest as it's about to dig a hole, which he is in a way. Then he sets his work foot on the back of the shovel blade. Duckworth's eyes widening as he realizes.
No, don't!
And the huge man stomps on the back of the shovel blade, driving it down into Duckworth's chest with a horrific chunk. Exterior town, Main Street, night. Kevin walks with Vanessa and Sloan when a voice calls.
Excuse me.
They turn. An eccentric woman, 50-ish, and big 80s glasses charged up. She has a charming, dotty hyper energy.
You're from the camp, right? I'm Linda King. I live up the road. I am so happy you are all there. When they opened the new camp, I thought, good. Get rid of that bad energy. I used to race my bike up there when I had my arm. And
They now notice she has an artificial arm. She pats it fondly.
every time I went up there, I thought, no, Pam, you don't get to turn this place ugly. That old camp sitting out there abandoned, you could just feel the bad energy. Don't ever go around that side of the lake. Y'all just stay where you belong.
Did you know Pamela Voorhees?
We called her lunch lady Pam at the school. And after her son died, she talked to him all day long like he was still there. Poor Pam. Turned out to be one crazy fucking bitch, didn't she?
Did you know her son too?
Oh, sure. Nice kid.
Cut to exterior Camp Crystal Lake night. The counselors are back and unloading the truck as night begins to fall, and we fade to a montage of the evening at Camp Crystal Lake. Guns N' Roses' awesome nostalgic cover of Knockin' on Heaven's Door plays as this. The last fireflies glow and disappear in the darkness. On the end of the dock, Greg stands hitting golf balls into the lake. He's wearing the hockey mask as he turns from the old campfire as he golfs, a surreal image. At a picnic table by the lake, the girls eat a thrown-together dinner where, to their surprise, Kevin sits down with them. They make room and include him in the conversation. Greg hits the last golf ball into the lake. He takes off the hockey mask and tosses it into the lake, too. It splashes and floats in a patch of dark water. The song fades down, close on the hockey mask floating in the lake as Greg walks off to the dock. Exterior Camp Crystal Lake night. Greg walks up on shore. He calls to the picnic table where Kevin and the girls are all talking intently. Yo, let's get a fire going. The girls and Kevin trade looks. Good.
We might not do a fire tonight.
It's our last night. Are you guys really going to let some perv in the woods ruin it?
Don't laugh it off, asshole. It was fucking scary. My heart is still like pounding just thinking about it.
Greg holds up his hands. Okay, I believe you. Okay, no campfire. What, we lock ourselves in our cabins, sleep in town? I mean, if you all are that scared, we can take Ducky's truck.
Where is Duckworth?
Maybe we should go into town.
And sleep outside the post office?
Who knows who this guy could be?
Kevin sees a chance to step up. He touches Vanessa's arm.
I know what we're going to do. We'll have a fire, just do it a little differently. And if he shows up again, this time we'll be ready.
Interior equipment shed night. Kevin, Brad, Greg, and Weezer get baseball bats from a selection of camp sports equipment. Weighing their options, wooden sluggers, aluminum ones, getting into the spirit. The girls watch from the doorway, their attitudes ranging from skeptical to serious to amuse.
This is ridiculous.
A bunch of candles burning. Lots of candles are clustered together on a wood floor, sort of simulating an indoor campfire. We are in the main cabin at night. The counselors sit around the candle campfire, hanging out here instead of outdoors. This is where the kids bunked, so it lines with empty beds. The candlelight is warm but spooky. They're drinking and smoking. A boombox plays a mixtape right now. Right now, it's Benny King's 1961 Stand By Me, a surprise re-release hit single in 1986 via Stephen King's movie.
Okay, tonight, this is the fortress. We're safe in here.
Greg proposes a baseball bat, props a baseball bat by the door. He's now pretty into the idea they must defend themselves. If this motherfucker comes back, we all just like kick his ass. Right, Kev? Right, Beamer? Brad gives a thumbs up, plays along. Kevin glances at Vanessa, feeling good. Pals with Greg now.
Right. We got this.
I hope he comes back. Curbs, take off your shirt and stand by the window. Kirby flips him off as if.
She may be your masturbation aid, Greg, but she's not your bait.
Everybody goes, ooh, as this is a burn. Kirby cracks up. She's not a virgin in my dreams, baby. At least if Lunch Lady Voorhees comes to kill us, you're safe. She only goes after kids who get laid, so you got nothing to worry about either, Kev.
The sheriff is all, her son never really drowned. He lives in the woods, and he's coming for your women.
I love that line. What if it's true, though? If the little boy was still living out there, he'd be, like, insane. Or he might be totally chill.
Pretty sure people actually saw the boy drown.
So how come they never found him?
It's a deep lake. I don't know.
Or he's been out there in the woods all this time, all alone, getting weird, making love to small woodland animals.
Dude, the kid drowned. No one ever doubted it, including his mother. It makes literally no sense that he didn't drown and he's been living out in the woods. That's ridiculous.
Across the room, Amber's leading Brad to the door.
Where are you guys going? We're in siege mode.
I do what I'm told.
He flashes a grin, looking forward to getting laid as Amber leads him out. Kevin's like, yo, what the fuck?
What time is it?
Kevin checks his casino watch.
It's 9:09 p.m.
What time is he coming, V?
Like 9-ish?
What time is who coming?
She's got a date.
Kevin's having trouble processing this.
With that guy from town tonight?
Whenever he actually gets here.
She looks at the door a little anxiously. Kevin slumps. His hopes for the night are all crumbling. Sloan notices his mood change. She understands what just happened. Interior girls' counselor's cabin night. Amber and Brad enter. Drunk, she turns to him, serious.
So, what you said about visiting me this fall, I don't think it really makes sense. I think this is really a camp thing.
Brad stops. This is not where he thought this was going.
You're breaking up with me?
Well, not right this second.
Brad stares at her, stunned. Exterior, Camp Crystal Lake night, someone's POV. Brad bursts out of the girls' cabin, pissed.
Brad, hang on. Wait.
But he stalks off toward the guy's cabin, and Amber slumps in the doorway. Then she goes back inside, frustrated. She didn't mean for it to all go down like that. Interior main cabin night. Crowded house bittersweet. Don't dream it's over plays on the boombox. Sloan smokes a joint. Then, to Sloan's surprise, Kirby takes it out of her hand. Sloan raises an eyebrow. Trying new things? Kirby shrugs, smiles. Kevin's watching Vanessa. She looks both crushed and pissed off. Drinking a beer, Kevin checks his watch. 10:07.
Maybe some family stuff came up.
Or he had something better to do.
I'm sorry.
Vanessa tries to brush it off, hide her disappointment.
I'm a big girl. We're leaving tomorrow anyway. But thanks.
She smiles at Kevin. He smiles back. He hesitates. And then goes and over and sits next to her. He's encouraged when she acts as though this is totally normal.
So, was this the first time you've ever been stood up?
No. Why?
I don't know. I just can't imagine ever standing you up.
She smiles, grimacing at the cheesiness, but also touched on Sloane and Kirby. The two girls now in an intense conversation lubricated by booze. Sloane's sardonic reserve has given way to an introspective honesty.
Like, at some point, I became the girl who sits back and has a clever remark on everything. And I guess I thought I don't know, just have fun while I was here. But nope, I'm still me. I can't even remember the last time I did something impulsive.
Kirby kisses Sloane. Sloane's too surprised to move, then she gently pulls away, shocked but flattered. Kirby just did exactly the kind of thing Sloane is always scared to do.
Sorry. That just happened.
Wow. Don't apologize. I don't like girls, but I'm impressed.
Reveal, Greg, and Weezer sitting a distance away, watching the girl silently, high as fuck, eyes as big as saucers. On Kevin and Vanessa, deep in conversation now. To Kevin's surprise, they're getting along. She's genuinely having fun.
And my parents crazy overreacted and actually made me see a therapist who I only ever saw one time. But we spent the whole hour talking about my ugly mutant toe and how what makes me feel most loved is when someone expresses affection for my toe.
You have a mutant toe?
It's hideous. Here, I'll show you.
She reaches to take off her shoe, and Kevin leans in slightly as if about to kiss her. It's not even an attempt, just a clumsily instinctive lean, but Vanessa jolts back. Kevin gestures quickly, disavowing all romantic intention.
Sorry, I wasn't.
But the curtain comes down. What was a genuinely friendly camaraderie instantly becomes awkward politeness.
Right. Sorry, dude. I just chalk that up to one too many beers. I'm gonna go talk to the girls.
She goes to join Sloane and Kirby, leaving Kevin alone. His face is plain fucking hell. I screwed that up. Meanwhile, everyone's fading. Greg gets back to his feet. He's not coming. I'm going to crash in my actual bed. And Kevin starts to protest, alarmed.
Dude, no. What about the fortress?
But Greg ignores him, and Weezer gets up too. Exterior main cabin night. We're in someone's POV, watching the cabin as Greg staggers out. Weezer follows, both wasted. Ugh, what time is it? Well, it's officially Friday now. Weezer stops, thinking, I'm not even tired. I'm going to go smoke a bowl on the slide. You're insane. Greg heads for the cabin. Weezer walks off toward the lake, and the POV follows him. Then it hesitates, looking down to a tree stump nearby where one day we saw Frank working with a machete. That very machete now sits embedded in the tree stump. As we move towards the machete, interior main cabin night. Sloane sits with Vanessa and Kirby, who are out. Kirby's head on Vanessa's shoulder. The car's ethereal love song Drive plays like a slow number at the end of a high school dance. Sloane looks up at Kevin sitting by himself, fatalistic. She gets up and walks over, sits next to him, both tired.
Hey,
Hey.
how's it going?
You know.
Every year, there's the summer you wanted to have, and then there's the summer you did have.
Kevin manages a weary laugh, a c'est la vie shrug.
Hey, I'll write a story about it.
Sloane kisses him. For a long moment, they just kiss. Then Kevin puts his hand on her waist. She doesn't stop him. He moves it higher, cautious, then lightly cups her breast. She touches his hand to press it down even harder. Whoa, this is happening. Kevin kisses more confidently. Now they're both really into it, groping hungrily. But then Sloane glances over at Vanessa and Kirby, asleep a few feet away. Kevin looks at Sloane. Is that a problem? Sloane looks at her, holds her finger to his lips. Shh. She gets up and takes off her shoes. Kevin follows her example. She leads him over to one of the beds when the mixtape ends. Silence. Sloane gets on the bed, springs creak. Kevin gets out of the bed carefully. They start making out again. So eager, but they have to be quiet. All in science, funny and real and very sexy all at once. Sloane pulls off her shirt and gets stuck in it, laughing. Kevin pulls off his shirt too, and they get clumsily out of their jeans. Goosebumps in the night. They get under the seats, shivering and laughing. Vanessa stirs, murmuring. Kevin and Sloane freeze. Then Vanessa settles again, nuzzling Kirby in her sleep. Kevin and Sloane keep going. Sloane reaches under the sheets, and she makes like a little gasp when they start having sex. It's really intense and intimate. Silent, just as sounds. Sorry, I just saw a little feedback.
Boy, the crickets were cued perfectly then.
Right? It's really intense, intimate, silent, blah, blah, blah. And then eye contact. Everything else melts away as they focus on each other. And off this connection fade to later. Sloane and Kevin sleep soundly in the bed, side by side. Vanessa stirs, waking. She stretches, then notices Sloane, Kevin in bed, clearly naked. She jostles Kirby, who wakes. Vanessa nods to the bed. Kirby's eyes go wide. Vanessa holds a finger to her lips. Quietly, she and Kirby walk across the room. Before they leave, Vanessa picks up the baseball bat and takes it with her. Exterior, Camp Crystal Lake, night. Vanessa and Kirby cross the camp into the girls' cabin. Pan over to the dark lake, silently flickers in the distance. Pan further, back to camp. The tree stump where the machete was. The machete isn't there anymore. Someone's POV. Moving towards the lake, toward the dock, and the water slide. A flicker of silent lightning illuminates a silhouetted figure sitting atop the water slide. It's Weezer, pensively smoking a bowl and looking out over the lake, unaware of the danger he's in. As we stalk closer and closer, and then we, hard cut to, a glorious sunrise, upside down, beautiful view, brilliant sunrise, still lake, silent woods, all upside down. Then we reveal we are exterior dark water slide dawn, that was Weezer's POV, waking up atop the water slide, hanging over the edge. He spent the rest of the night up here, very much alive and still very high. He sits up and takes the last hit from his pipe, cashing it. He looks around at Camp Crystal Lake and its surroundings. An absolutely beautiful morning. The world is peaceful and still. He looks at the shimmering lake, inviting. Why not? He peels off his shirt, peers down the tunnel slide. His stoned POV, the weirdly illuminated inside of the cheap plastic water slide tunnel leading down into the lake. He puts his legs in and shoves off, entering the tunnel, hurling down the slide in the lake when, thump, something slices through the underside of the slide just ahead at the mouth of it. Oh, fuck, it's the machete blade. Weezer can't stop. The blade is angled at him, and he's hurtling right at it. Whoa, whoa, no, whoa! Shot of the mouth of the slide, a horrific fleshy shunk off screen as the blade hits. Weezer's feet pop out of the tube, but joltingly stop, sticking out, twitching. We hear an awful, agonizing moan as the tendons in his feet and ankles stand out, toes curling. Blood begins streaming out of the slide in audible pulses. And now we go to the interior of the slide where Weezer is stuck to the slide to the machete, which has sliced through his pelvis and lodged into his hip bone. Blood spurts his femoral artery, pumping hard. Oh my God, fuck! Oh! He's got to get himself off that fucking machete. He grabs the sides of the slide, tries to frantically pull himself up the slide off the blade, but there's nothing to grip. Weezer moans, slowly dragging himself upward, the blade sliding roughly out of his pelvis as he tries not to pass out until he's finally free. The bloody blade sticks up out of the slide, which is now painted red with blood. Weezer is shaking, trying to hold himself in place and slowly work his way back up the slide, afraid of what's down there, but he's losing consciousness. Then he sees the blade get yanked downward, disappearing. Someone is down there, and his bloody hands slip. He loses his hold and slides down, splashing into the lake and screaming. Interior, main cabin, dawn. As Sloane snaps awake in Kevin's arms, heart thudding, she looks at the window. A bright, beautiful morning. Birds are chirping. She blinks, shakes her head. Beside her, Kevin stirs, looks at her. So that was real. Neither is used to this, waking up beside someone.
Whoa, I had a nightmare.
Was it about me?
I woke up and you were asleep. I went outside. The sky was blue. The sun was bright, and I could hear kids laughing in the lake.
But she pauses,
Then
remembering.
Then this wind started up, and I heard rain coming over the trees, a storm all of a sudden. I yelled for you, but then the rain turned to blood, and the whole camp was bathed in it. It formed little rivers that ran down towards the lake, and that's when I saw him.
Who?
The boy who drowned.
She turns to Kevin. She turns to look Kevin in the eyes. This is important.
The boy was still in the lake, but he wasn't a boy anymore.
Sloane starts to get uneasy. Kevin takes her hand.
He's been down there all these years. This little boy who never got to have a life, and he was lonely and scared, and he wanted his mom. But the whole time he was growing. The boy in the lake was growing, and now he was a man.
Then what happened?
Then I woke up with this feeling in the pit of my stomach, like...
She doesn't finish, lost in thought, and then sensing that she's made everything weird and dark and fucked up vibe.
Boof!
She lunges at him and laughs, breaking the mood. He laughs too, and she nuzzles him, then kisses him.
That was a fun last night.
Yeah.
See you at breakfast.
She kisses him again and hops out of bed to leave. Exterior main cabin dawn. Sloane steps outside. The sky is blue. The sun is just raising over the lake, blazing. She pauses and smiles. Interior girls' counselor's cabin dawn. Sloane slips in. Amber's bed is empty. Kirby's asleep, but Vanessa's just woken up with a crazy bedhead and sleepy eyes. As Sloane starts changing into a hoodie and comfy pants.
Morning.
Vanessa gives her a sly smile, remembering last night. An unusual girl bonding moment between the two of them.
So, how was it?
Sloane grins back, a little embarrassed, but not really.
Kind of awesome.
Exterior Camp Crystal Lake, dawn. Kevin emerges from the main cabin, bleary, looks around. He's kind of blissed out, still feeling great. He walks out of the grass, looks at the sunrise over the lake, stretches, groaning to himself.
Best sunrise of my life.
Then he notices a wisp of smoke coming from nearby. He walks further and sees it's coming from the campfire site. And Brad is sitting there, slouched on the grass, depressed. He started a full campfire and he's listlessly roasting marshmallows for breakfast. Kevin ambles over and sits next to him. Brad looks over.
Amber broke up with me.
Sorry, man.
Probably the wrong moment to share his own news, so Kevin just roasts marshmallows of his own and starts roasting it side by side with his brother. Match cut to Vanessa and Sloane sitting side by side in the bed, talking quietly so they don't wake Kirby, and smoking the remains of an unfinished joint they found, giggling.
I think I blew his mind. I'm stealthy like that. You know, people don't see me, then bam, blow their mind.
They don't see me either.
Sloane gives her a friendly shove.
People can't look at anything but you.
Look, they see a hot chick. It's kind of a problem.
Vanessa's not bitching or griping, just saying it's matter-of-factly with a shrug. Sloane reflects on this then.
You're cool. Let's be friends.
They descend into another fit of giggles again. The nearby Kirby lifts her head sleeping and throws a pillow at them.
Would you guys shut up?
Sloane and Vanessa can't stop laughing as Kirby gets up, grabs her shower caddy, and heads out. Campfire site, day. Kevin slides the crisp coating of a toasted marshmallow off and eats it. Besides him, Brad does the same. Now the radio is playing on the boombox campfire and will play in the background through the next few scenes. From the showers, Amber walks up, hair's wet. She approaches tentatively. Brad looks at her, weary.
Hey guys, last day, huh? You guys see Duckworth?
Nope.
I was gonna go take down the archery range. Brad, will you help?
A pretty transparent peace offering, but Brad doesn't even really want to look at her. Kevin nudges Brad.
Go. Yeah, you guys go. We'll get started packing up here.
Brad gives him an irritated glare, but slowly gets to his feet and goes to Amber. She offers a conciliatory smile.
Thanks.
Kevin watches them walk off together, Brad a bit reluctantly towards the wood. He smiles, pulling for Brad. He stirs the fire, tossing kindling on it and a couple logs. The flames lick higher. He sits back and sighs. Then he notices something down by the lake. It's floating in the water just by the shore as if it washed up. Can't quite tell what it is. It's sort of purplish. Lakeshore. He walks towards the floating thing. It's raw meat of some kind. Heavy, dark chunks. What the fuck? Kevin notices something on the water's edge by his foot. Weezer's pipe. Off Kevin's very disturbed interior girls counselor's cabin day. Sloan and Vanessa are sitting still laughing as Sloan tells a story when Kevin bursts in breathless. Oh, sorry, Vanessa? Oh, she's mute. You're muted. There.
Dude, we could be naked.
Can you guys come down to the lake?
At the lake shore, Sloan and Vanessa stare at what Kevin found.
Those are lungs. Definitely lungs.
Lungs?
Why is Weezer's pipe there?
They see Greg ambling down from the cabins barefoot in jeans and a members only jacket. Yo, I am hungover and still drunk. Is that meat?
Is Weezer in the cabin?
Is that more meat? He points further up the shore. More washed up meat further down the shore. Kevin walks towards it as they follow.
Oh shit. Is that?
Kevin toes it, revealing it to be attached to a human hand. Fingers bent backwards, broken. Vanessa shrieks. Sloan covers her mouth. Is that real? And now Kevin sees something else, hidden in some marshy grass ahead. It appears to be a lot more meat. He walks towards it, feeling ill, kind of knowing already.
Kevin?
Then she sees it too and follows him. The others come after. Coming up in the marshy grass, we see Weezer's corpse, barely recognizable as human, hacked literally to soggy pieces. His face resembles a rubber mass someone filled with chunky tomato sauce and stomped on it. They stare in horror. Greg can't even comprehend it. What is that?
It's Weezer, man.
Vanessa is staring at the hyperventilating a little. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Something did that to him.
No, it's not something. It's him. It's the fucking guy who came into the camp and watched us.
Now it's really sinking in. Kevin holding it together, but he knows every minute they stand there, they're in danger.
Yeah, okay, we got to get out of here right now.
Exterior Camp Crystal Lake pickup truck day. They move in a group towards Duckworth's truck, jittery. The radio plays, giving a feeling of unnerving ordainedness. Kirby is coming over from the showers, hair wet. She sees the group, senses something off. Kevin yells at her.
Hey, is the phone working now?
No, I tried to call my mom. Why?
Greg drove you back. Or Greg, you drove back. You still got Ducksworth keys?
Greg fumbles his pockets. Kirby reaches for them.
What's going on?
I got him. We just got to go to the cops and tell him there's a fucking maniac out there, okay?
What?
Fuck. Brad and Ember went out to the archery range.
Everybody stops. Shit. Exterior archery range clearing. The quiet little clearing with archery targets pinned to the trees. Brad is taking them down, ignoring Amber.
I'm really sorry about last night.
Brad turns wary, but listening.
I've had an amazing 6 weeks.
Brad smiles, a glimmer of hope and confidence returning.
Me too.
Brad walks over to her, sensing she's giving him a chance.
Let's just forget about last night. We were drunk. You got nervous.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I really care about you, but let's be realistic. We're going to different schools. You think you want to hold on to this, but when you get there, I'm not saying we'll never see each other again. I'm just saying let's remember this as what it was. One last golden summer before the rest of our lives.
On Brad as he absorbs this. He's not used to the rejection, and part of him wants to lash out, reject her back. But the more mature part wins, and he nods, manages a smile.
It was a good summer, wasn't it?
Exterior Crystal Lake pickup truck.
Are you guys fucking with me?
No one even responds. There's terror. The terror is unmistakable.
We can't leave him. I'll go.
No, we all go.
The baseball bats. We need to get weapons.
The bats are in the big cabin.
Duckworth has a gun.
They shut up and look at her.
The nurse told me in his desk, but he keeps the desk locked.
I got his keys. Greg holds up Duckworth's keys. Sloan snatches them, starts looking for a desk key. Greg's like, what the fuck?
Okay, listen. Sloane's right. We got to stay together. Here's the plan. We all go get the gun.
Guys,
Then we all go get Brad and Amber.
guys.
And then we go for the cops. If we stay together, we're going to be okay.
Guys, why is there a goalie over there?
Everybody looks towards where she's pointing, and they see a man standing at the edge of the woods, a man wearing a hockey mask, holding a machete. It's the same minimalist 1960s mask Greg took from the old camp and threw in the lake. The man is a good 50 yards away. Smoke from the campfire is blowing across the view, partially obscuring him, making him look almost mythic. This is our first real daylight look at the killer. Nobody speaks. Then Greg starts to babble quietly, panicked. What the fuck? Who the fuck is that?
Stay back, man. We have a gun.
The killer doesn't move. Okay, let's get in the truck. Let's get in the truck now.
We can't leave, Brad and Amber.
Come on, give me the keys back.
No, don't.
The killer begins to walk, circling, stalking with a stiff, strange gait as he moves out of sight behind a cabin.
What the fuck is he doing?
Brad, Amber. Give me the keys. We're going to get the gun.
No, we're leaving.
Where is he?
The killer reappears closer. He has used the cabins as cover. Now he disappears again behind a different one, working his way towards the counselors.
Stay back. We will shoot you. Come on, we got to get the gun right now.
Give me the keys. He grabs the keys back. Kevin and Sloane lunge for them. A brief, clumsy struggle. He stuffs them in his jacket pocket, and the killer emerges from behind a cabin, closer now and striding faster, right behind them. The hockey mask is terrifyingly blank. The black eye hole's dead. We gotta go.
Oh shit, guys.
Oh,
Guys.
fuck, there he is.
Stop right there, man.
They start back up and scatter, and the killer starts to run a full fucking sprint. Kevin and the others panic, fleeing in different directions, but the killer just goes straight after Greg. No, don't hurt me! Greg runs for the truck, opens the cab, but the killer strides up behind him and plunges the machete into his back. The blade enters his side near the kidneys. Greg looks down in horror to see it emerging from the front of his body. The others turn back, screaming at the killer to stop. Note, they're not running now. They don't want to abandon Greg. Also note, even now, lingering close-ups of the killer or iconic mask. We use wide shots, obscuring shots, or quick close-ups, keeping him mysterious and hellishly weird.
No. Stop.
No, stop. Leave it.
Oh,
Shima,
shit.
leave him
Stop.
alone.
Get
Come
out
on.
of here.
Oh no! Greg grips the blade protruding from his gut, but the killer yanks it out, slicing into Greg's hand. Greg turns, raises his arms defensively. The killer slashes at them, slicing his hands at the wrist. Greg screams. Everybody else screams. On Kevin, watching in shock, like when the kid was drowning, the killer looks around at the screams and starts toward Kirby. Shit, Kirby flees and the killer runs at her. Sloane and Vanessa selfishly rush to Greg, who was weakly moving as his mangled hands and wrists gush blood.
We got to stop the bleeding.
Sloane yanks a drawstring out of her hoodie and starts tying it around one of Greg's forearms as a tourniquet. Vanessa thinks, looks around, then squirms out of the cheap cotton bra under her shirt and pulls it through her sleeve, uses it as a tourniquet on his other forearm. The killer slashes Kirby across the back, bringing her down, but instead of killing her, he glances back and sees Sloane and Vanessa messing with the last victim. As Kevin watches frozen, the killer turns back, bearing down on Sloane, Vanessa, and Greg as he approaches. Cut to a shot, high-end cassette deck playing a tape. The tape's label reads, Soothing Ocean Vibe. As we can hear ambient... Oh, let's turn that down. It's so loud. Gentle waves. That wasn't gentle. Faint screams are incongruously audible in the distance. We are in the nurse's cabin, bedroom, same time, where Nurse Nicole sleeps peacefully with her tape deck playing ocean sounds on auto repeat, utterly unaware of the mayhem going on across the camp. Back to exterior Camp Crystal Lake pickup truck day. Sloane and Vanessa look up to see the killer coming. Too late. Their backs are against the truck, nowhere to go. The killer is on them. He slashes, the machete slicing deeply into Vanessa's palm, and Kevin forces into action. He grabs a rock and hurls it at the killer. It lands. Fucking heroic.
Hey.
Here we go. The killer stops, turns. It's a moment. Kevin stands his ground. In fact, he picks up another rock and hurls it. It clonks off his hockey mask, keeping the killer's attention. Behind him, Greg's crawling away on knees and useless hands, but now the killer starts coming for Kevin. Oh, fuck. Kevin turns and runs. The killer chases him, full sprint, slowly gaining until the killer collars him, yanking him back hard. Off his feet, Kevin lands on his back, looks up dazed. Kevin's point of view, the killer looming, those dead black eye holes staring down. A beat, then the killer just stares at him. Kevin rolls onto his belly and tries to scramble crawl away, but the killer grabs Kevin's foot and drags him towards a tree and swings his body against it like a sack of meat. Bones crunch. Then his body hits into the hit sends his body into a helicopter spin to the ground. He lands broken, spine, ribs, legs, close on Kevin, face up, linger on his shell-shocked look as he stares at the sky. Blood bubbles from his nose and mouth. Kevin's POV, like before, those dead black eye holes staring down, but now sounds are muffled by a dull drone, and his throbbing fading. The killer stares for a moment longer, then, with a fearsome overhead swing, the killer brings down the machete and embeds it in Kevin's face, killing him. Just like that, Kevin is dead. Holy fuck. The killer looks around. Vanilla and Sloan are nowhere to be seen. Greg is some distance away, staggering to his feet. He sees the killer looking at him and starts to run away. The killer doesn't move, just watches. Then he hears sobbing, looks over to see Kirby staggering away. Her back's covered in blood. The killer starts after her. On Greg, some distance away, woozy from the blood loss, bleeding, forearms tied off with Sloan's drawstring and Vanessa's bra, almost to the woods, panting. Euphoria. He made it, but he falls to a knee, looks down. His wrists and belly ooze blood. He tries to get up, staggers again, falling, lying there, dizzy, his blood and his life leaking away. Lakeshore, the dock, continuous. The killer has Kirby cornered against the lake. Kirby desperately heads for the blue canoe on the shore. She gets into the canoe and pushes off. The canoe slowly glides out of the water of the lake as the killer gets to the water's edge. The killer picks up one huge rock. The canoe glides further out. Kirby paddles weakly. The killer walks out onto the dock, following, and then hurls the rock. It slams Kirby's shoulder, hurting her worse, landing with a crunch in the bottom of the fiberglass canoe. Water begins bubbling up around the rock, slowly starting to fill the canoe. Oh, fuck, it's sinking. The killer turns, walks away. Off that, cut to the archery range. Brad and Amber finishing up. Brad is sad but thoughtful as he picks up the last of the tattered archery targets.
All done. Ready?
Amber kisses him to his surprise, a long, affectionate kiss.
What's that for?
Old time's sake.
Everybody's probably up by now.
They head for the trail, joking around, comfortable again.
So if we're single at 30, want to get married?
35?
Deal.
Exterior Camp Crystal Lake day. The aftermath, stillness, shot to the camp, placid and calm. The skies become a bit overcast. The radio is still playing an eerie, sickening normalcy. Happy Friday, everybody. That was the Pet Shop Boys with What I Have Done to Deserve This. Now here's Cyndi Lauper with True Colors. Visible in some of those shots as if happenstance are bodies. Greg, far off, dead. Kevin, broken, super dead. Meanwhile, the slow romantic ballad True Colors plays, building until crunch, 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 reveal the killer stomping on the boombox. Exterior lake, floating deck day. The floating deck out on the lake sits empty except for some flotation equipment until Kirby lurches out of the lake. Gasping, she drags herself onto the deck, shivering and bleeding. She flattens herself on the boards, trying to stay out of sight. Reveal, Sloan and Vanessa hiding in the back of the truck, watching as the killer walks off and goes out of sight amongst the cabins. They speak in frantic, rapid whispers.
We gotta get that gun.
Gotta get those keys.
A beat then.
We need the gun to get the keys.
We need the keys to get the gun.
We can break into the desk. Greg
we
has
can
the
do the
keys and
keys,
he's
we can
far
drive
away
out
and the
here
gun's
and we
close.
don't need the
And if
gun.
we go for the keys
Crazy,
without the
let's
gun
fucking
and he sees
go.
us, we're fucked.
Okay. Right. We gotta get the gun, then the keys. Fuck.
She looks at the empty, ominous campsite. Exterior Camp Crystal Lake day. Sloan and Vanessa very cautiously climb out. They move quickly across the camp, vulnerable in the open, looking around. Where is he? Vanessa tries and fails to stifle a cough. Sloan looks at her. Be quiet. Duckworth's cabin isn't far. Sloan and Vanessa enter. Duckworth's cabin, continuous, small, cluttered, nicer than a counselor's cabins. There's an incongruously heavy desk. Sloane rushes to it, tries the drawers, finds a locked drawer. That's the one. Behind her, Vanessa makes a sharp, wheezy, involuntary gasp.
Hiccups now?
She turns to see Vanessa helplessly, frustratingly wheezing.
No, you're having an asthma attack.
Vanessa tries to wave it off. Ignore me. She sinks to the floor. Sloane kneels, grabs her, whispers.
Okay, just relax. We'll be okay. Just go to a calm place.
Vanessa closes her eyes, holds her sliced, bleeding hand to a pressure point on her shoulder. This helps relieve the asthma attacks, FYI, as Sloane talks to her soothingly.
Everything's under control. We're going to be okay.
Vanessa tries to breathe, massaging her pressure point.
V, focus on my voice. We're going to get the gun. We're going to get the keys. You and me. We're going to get out of here, okay? We can do this.
Vanessa opens her eyes, shallow breaths, quiet, shaky.
Who is he? What does he want?
Sloane hesitates.
What?
Frank said he always wore a mask. The boy. The one who drowned.
Vanessa tries to process this, but can't quite do it.
The gun.
Sloane nods. They go to the drawer. They go to the desk. Vanessa grabs a screwdriver and starts trying to pry the locked drawer open. When they hear carefree laughter from outside, they look outside the window and see Brad and Amber returning to camp.
Oh, shit.
Exterior Camp Crystal Lake day. Brad and Amber walking into the empty camp. Brad's carrying all the torn down archery targets under his arm. Glowing, the sky is more overcast. Very faintly, thunder rumbles. Greg's body is too far to notice. Kevin is out of sight.
You hungry?
Yeah, let me just trash these.
Amber smiles, heads towards the mess hall. Calls back.
How do you want your eggs, dear?
Deviled.
She laughs as they go in different directions. Interior Duckworth cabin day. Sloane and Vanessa urgently debate.
You get the gun out. I'll go out there and I'll get them.
I'll go. I can go.
You're having a fucking asthma attack. Get the gun.
Vanessa concedes this makes sense. Sloane goes to the door and peers out, takes a deep breath, and goes outside. Campfire site day. Brad notices the boombox smashed to bits. He comes over baffled, like, what the fuck? He idly stirs the fire and flames to rise. Another part of the camp. Sloane sneaks among the cabins, staying low, looking around, terrified. Somewhere a branch cracks. She flinches. She sees nothing. Every empty space is ominous. She keeps moving. Back to the campfire. Brad kneels, toasting a marshmallow, when he notices something way out on the lake, on the floating dock. Kirby is out there, lying flat on her stomach, covered in a life vest, trying to hide. Well, that is very bizarre. Brad is about to yell when Sloane claps her hand over his mouth from behind with an urgent shh. He turns, baffled.
Somebody's trying to kill us. We gotta get inside.
What?
Interior mess hall day. Amber's alone in the empty mess hall getting some cereal. Then she hears something move past the window. She looks over, puzzled. Nothing visible out there anymore. Interior Duckworth cabin. Vanessa chips desperately at the locked desk. Her hand bleeds all over the screwdriver, making it slippery. Then finally, the drawer slides open. Vanessa yanks it out, revealing the black plastic box, a gun case. She snaps it open and takes out a .38 revolver with a trigger lock. Fuck, unusable.
Fuck!
Interior campsite day. Exterior. Here we go. Sloane tries to get Brad out of the open, freaking.
He killed Kevin. He killed Greg. He killed Nicole. We gotta go.
What? Stop. Slow down.
Sloane drags him over to a place where he can see Kevin's broken body far off. Brad stares in horror, the grisly image sinking in. His brother is dead. He can't believe what he's seeing. He takes a slow, shaky step towards the body, but Sloane grabs his arm and yanks him back.
He's still here.
Amber.
Interior camp. Sloane and Brad hurry along the mess hall as Amber walks out, calmly eating a bowl of cereal.
Hey, where is everybody?
As she says this, the killer walks around the corner of the mess hall right behind her, coming for her. She has no idea.
Run! He's right there!
The killer brings his machete down on Amber's shoulder, embedding it. Amber looks down at the blade with an expression of mild, irritated confusion, almost calmly.
What the fuck?
He yanks the blade out. Amber just stands there, puzzled. Duckworth's cabin. Vanessa watches from a window, horrified. Camp Crystal Lake Day. Brad screams her name. The killer looks up, fixes on him and Sloan. The killer abandons Amber and strides towards them.
Come on.
Sloan grabs Brad's arm. They flee between the two cabins. We follow them as they circle back over the cabins, trying to keep a cabin between them and the killer. Cat and mouse among the cabins. A jittery, hunted experience. In Duckworth's cabin, on Vanessa, helpless as she watches the killer stalk them through the cabins. Sloan and Brad scrambling amongst the cabins, trying to stay ahead of the killer and out of sight. They move along the side of the cabin, listening for the killer's footsteps. They circle around behind the mess hall and see Amber standing there, clutching her blood-drenched shoulder. She looks horribly pale, but bizarrely calm. Brad rushes to her, wants to help her, but doesn't know how.
It's numb.
Just hang on. You're going to be okay.
I'm in shock, right? Yeah, I'm in shock.
Meanwhile, Sloan looks around, terrified.
In here.
She grabs Brad's arm, pulls back of the entrance. The mess hall. A messy camp kitchen. Sloan and Brad pull Amber in, ducking down out of the window, shaking just footsteps approach as a figure passes the dirty window. Just a hockey mask and a hulking shoulders. Then footsteps continue, moving on. Brad looks at Sloan, reeling.
Who is that? Why is he...
Shh. We think that stuff the cop told us, the little Voorhees boy living in the woods, I think.
Shit. The footsteps are coming back. Toward the door, Brad pulls Amber over an old mini pantry. Pulls Amber over to an old mini pantry on the floor. Helps her inside to hide, but it won't fit anyone else. Sloan hisses at Brad from across the room, seeing an open cupboard in the sink. They go for it, scrambling. Inside the cupboard, Sloan and Brad crawl in. They barely fit. Brad tries to shut the door, but there's a gap. He can see out. He sees the back door handle, and oh fuck, the door opens, and the killer's heavy boots step in the doorway. Drip, drip, lake water, as if he's leaking. Surreal. Brad and Sloan are paralyzed, not breathing. The killer steps in, floorboards creaking, toward Amber's hiding spot. Brad tenses. He's not going to let the killer get Amber. He'll show himself if the killer gets any closer to her. But then a voice.
Hello? Where is everybody?
The killer stops. He turns and walks towards the mess hall, knocking over some copper pans as he goes. Exterior Camp Crystal Lake, same time. Nurse Nicole is shambling through the camp in bunny slippers and pajamas, smoking a parliament. She seems a little out of it. She hears the clanging from the kitchen and walks towards it.
Yo, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. What is this? Fucking clown school?
Interior mess hall, kitchen day. Inside the cupboard, Sloan and Brad hold their breath. Sloan mouths points right outside. Brad peers at the gap, tries to see the killer. Nothing. Then he hears footsteps out in the mess hall coming towards the kitchen. He steals a lot of space on pages by just sneaking dialogue into the descriptions.
Hello? Do I smell pancakes?
The door of the mess hall creaks open. Nurse Nicole comes into Brad's field of vision from the waist down. Sloan starts to move to get out, but Brad waves no. She mouths, "We have to." Brad shakes his head frantically, gesturing no. Then Nurse Nicole's legs go rigid. She emits a weird cry, like a cat in pain, as blood starts pouring down her legs. Close on Brad as he watches. Brad's eyes are wide with numb, traumatized horror. We don't see what he's seeing, but it's fucking grisly, and we hear it. Wet, ragged sounds, flesh rending, blood drizzling, the crunch of bone. Brad's POV. Whatever horrific murder just took place is over. The floor is slick with blood as the killer drags Nurse Nicole off. We just get a glimpse of her mangled body. Brad gestures at Sloan as they scramble out of the cupboard to get Amber. Exterior Camp Crystal Lake moments later. Brad and Sloan help Amber along as they sneak amongst the cabins, looking around in terror. Where is he? In Duckworth's cabin, Vanessa's still hiding here. Frantic, tapping at the door. She opens it. Sloan and Brad duck in with Amber, all three of them blood smeared. Amber seems weirdly thoughtful.
I completely forgot about Mother's Day. I forgot to get her anything.
Sloan grabs sheets. They all help bandage Amber's shoulder.
Shh, baby. You're going to be okay. I'm going to get us out of this.
Where is he?
Right out there somewhere. Did you get the gun?
Vanessa holds up the gun with its trigger locked.
We need the keys to use the gun.
Sloane closes her eyes as if this is just too much. Jesus Christ, what's next? But Vanessa grabs her arm.
No, we can do this. One of us goes for the keys. The others keep watch and distract him if we have to.
Sloane opens her eyes, looks at Brad, considering this. Cut to exterior grass near the woods a few minutes later. Vanessa hurries across the grassy area, heading for Greg's body, very exposed, carrying the gun, scared, looking over his shoulder at exterior Camp Crystal Lake day. Sloane and Brad with a pale, weak Amber among the cabins keeping watch, holding shitty weapons, a knife, a baseball bat, looking around, edgy and paranoid. The open spaces all around are loaded with dread. He can come from anywhere. 60 yards away or so, they see Vanessa reach Greg's corpse. Grass near the woods, same time. Vanessa kneels by Greg's body. Then she hears a sound from the woods. Vanessa flinches, expecting him to come charging out, but there's nothing there. She digs the keys out of Greg's jacket pocket. Yes, she finds the stubby key on the ring. It works and the trigger is locked. Now she's got a fucking gun. Exterior, Camp Crystal Lake, pickup truck, day. She meets Brad, Sloane, and Amber at the truck.
Either of you know how to use a gun?
I've shot.
If you see him, shoot him.
Brad turns the gun in his hands as if imagining this. Vanessa waves her arms at Kirby, who's still out there on the floating dock. Vanessa beckons, Sloane beckons too, but Kirby doesn't move.
She's not coming, is she?
My hand's fucked. You drive.
Vanessa gives her the keys. The girls get Amber in the truck. Sloane starts in, but Brad's looking around, gun in hand, almost as if disappointed the killer is a no-show.
Brad, come on. Let's go. Get in the fucking truck.
Brad snaps out of it, climbs in the cab with them, all four crammed in tight. Sloane starts driving up the gravel drive towards the woods. Interior pickup moving and stopped. Vanessa notices Brad shaking.
We're okay. We're gonna get out of here.
That fucker killed Kevin.
She realizes he's shaking with rage, not fear. Sloane drives a continuous shot down the gravel road into the woods, shadows crowding in, the road curving, trees hiding what's ahead, the long take building dread until they round a bend in the road and see the killer standing in the road.
Oh, shit.
Go! Hit him!
Sloane floors it, the truck lurching forward, zooming at him, but the killer moves. Sloane swerves to hit him, and the truck skids on the muddy road, striking the killer glancingly, sending him flying out into the road as the truck flips on its side, skidding to a stop. Exterior, gravel road. Interior, flipped truck. The killer lies on the road, motionless. Is he dead? The truck is smoking, its front smashed. Sloane, Brad, Amber, and Vanessa are all smushed together, dazed, groaning. And then the killer sits up. Not dead. The killer gets up, starts haltingly toward them.
Ugh, I hate this guy.
Shit. Go. Come on.
They scramble to get out, but the killer is already on them, punching through the smashed glass, reaching in, horrifying moment, his huge arm groping the claustrophobic cab and grabs Amber, dragging her out, through the broken glass, tearing her up as he does.
No! Amber! No, let her go, you motherfucker! Don't hurt her!
Once she's out, the killer simply picks Amber up by the head and crushes her skull with his hands. Instant death. Sloane kicks out the rest of the glass. She and Brad and Vanessa scramble out. The killer drops Amber's body.
Run!
Sloane and Vanessa take off, but Brad stands there shaking with fury, takes aim, and empties the gun at the killer. Some shots miss, a few hits, shoulder, leg. The killer staggers with every bullet, but keeps coming. At the last moment, Brad turns and runs, fleeing with his back to the camp with the girls. The killer is slow, damaged, and they leave him behind. Exterior Camp Crystal Lake day. A little later, it begins to rain lightly. Shots of the camp overcast in the drizzle. The campfire still weakly burning. It feels like twilight. The killer appears, staggering up the road. He looks around. He walks towards the camp, limping, wounded. He comes to the campfire site, looks at the smoking fire. In the background, Brad ventures out from behind a wood pile. He starts creeping up on the killer, gripping a wood axe. Behind the wood pile, Sloane and Vanessa watch, not breathing. At the campfire site, Brad comes up behind the killer, quietly raises the axe and swings, but the killer moves and the axe strikes his shoulder. The killer staggers and falls onto the campfire. Smoke and flames rise around him. When he gets up, his arm is on fire. Brad wakes, axe ready, but then the killer staggers off into the rain, moving erratically, burning. Sloane and Vanessa come out and join Brad.
He's on PCP or something. He doesn't even feel it.
The killer enters the dark woods. Soon, only the flames remain visible, moving eerily through the trees.
What's he doing?
Circling.
The flames dwindle, rain putting out the fire on the killer's body, finally flickering out, leaving only darkness. I'm on the right page. Interior cabin, Duckworth's cabin day. They see the smashed desk, but
There's no more bullets.
Brad has the axe. Otherwise, they're unarmed. Sloan sits on the floor, exhausted, a sense of defeat and fatalism.
Didn't they get people to come in and clean after? Like a cleaning service? Maybe someone will come.
Yes, maybe the cleaners will save us.
I should have shot him in the head.
Maybe he's not coming back.
Brad and Sloan look at her bleakly. Off their despair, fade to exterior woods, the lake day. A little time passing. Gentle rain falls in the dark trees on the lake. We see no signs of carnage, no trace of the killer. In the steel gray clouds, there's a pale spot where the sun now hangs low in the sky. Afternoon is ending. Back to Duckworth's cabin, Sloan, Brad, and Vanessa are still hiding, growing restless.
No one's coming.
Except him, eventually.
Maybe he's dead.
We have to go on foot.
It's miles to town.
It's getting dark early. We can't spend the night here.
Plus, he's weaker now. We heard him.
On Vanessa, knowing Sloan's right, but very uneasy. Back to the camp, Sloan, Brad, and Vanessa move along the cabins. The rain has stopped. Brad has the axe, looking around. No sign of him.
We go around the lake and shortcut through the woods. It'll be faster than the road.
Grass near the lake, shore. They wave at Kirby, beckoning, swim for shore. Kirby shakes her head. She won't come.
We'll bring help.
But Sloan ignores him, walks towards the lake.
Sloan.
Sloan makes her way to the marshy spot on the shore where Weezer's body still lies. Sloan shudders and looks away. She beckons Kirby vehemently. Floating dock deck, same time. With Kirby, flat on her stomach, pale, shivering, weak. She's been out there for hours. Her back is caked in blood. She's too scared and too injured to swim. Back to the shore, Sloan beckons again. We're not leaving without you type vibe. On Brad and Vanessa, a distance away, watching when Vanessa sees the killer come out of the woods by the cabin. She grabs Brad, panicking. There's a dilapidated, windowless boat shed nearby. They head for it. On Sloan, seeing the killer, seeing Brad and Vanessa at the boat shed, they beckon, but she's too far. A split second, and Sloan drops to the ground, hiding herself in the marshy grass with Weezer's remains. On Brad and Vanessa, helpless, they duck into the shed. On Sloan, playing dead beside Weezer's body, her face pressed into the mud, staring into Weezer's glassy eyes. She can hear the killer coming. Sloan can't turn her head or flick her eyes, but she knows she can see him. He's dragging something, Duckworth's corpse, the head swollen up like a giant rotten purple squash. As the killer passes the smoldering campfire, he pauses. He picks up a chunk of glowing firewood and calmly pounds Duckworth's head with it repeatedly, just to be thorough. A bizarre image. Storms of glowing embers rising with swirling around him like fireflies in the dusk. Sloan's POV. In the corner of her eye, she sees the killer coming toward her. Sloan wills herself not to move. The killer lumbers down to the marshy grass and stops, staring right at her and Weezer. Sloan holds absolutely still, playing dead. From her limited POV, she can see him just standing there, their blank mask just staring at her. What the fuck is he thinking? The killer comes closer. Sloan keeps her eye open, very still, dead, her eye watering. The killer slowly leans over, looking closer. Out on the floating deck, Kirby's watching the killer examine Sloan. Kirby looks frantically desperate to help somehow. Back on shore, the killer slides his machete under Sloan's face, lifting it. She plays limp, not breathing. Then something splashes in the lake. The killer looks up, distracted, letting Sloan's head drop. The floating deck is now empty. Where's Kirby? The killer scans the lake. Nothing. Out on the floating deck, reveal Kirby's in the water on the other side of the deck, submerged except for her face, just enough to breathe. She jumped in the water to distract the killer from Sloan. She's hiding there. Back to on shore, Sloan still playing dead as the killer grabs what remains of Weezer's torso and starts wading into the lake, dragging both Weezer and Duckworth's corpse in with him. Sloan dares to raise her head. She sees the killer wading into the waist deep. She watches, scared to breathe. The killer wades deeper, up to his chest, now his neck, and now, wait a second, the killer just walked completely underwater. Sloan stares, waiting for him to resurface. He has to, right? Any second. But he doesn't. Sloan rises to a crouch, eyes wide, having trouble accepting what she just saw. She stands, scanning the lake, incredulous, softly.
What the fuck?
Out on the floating deck, Kirby pulls herself cautiously back onto the deck, looking around, scared. Where is she? On shore, Sloane sees her. They lock eyes. Sloane points at the lake. She's down there. Not sure if Kirby understands. And then Sloane notices small bubbles rising in the lake. They could be the killer breathing or air escaping the bodies, but the trail of bubbles is moving right towards Kirby. Sloane points frantically. Kirby looks.
He's right there. He's coming right towards you.
Out on the lake now, Kirby sees the bubbles. Oh shit, head straighting for her. She steels herself. Closer, closer, right there, and then the bubbles go under the floating deck. He's right below her. A deadly silence. From the shore, Sloane watches. Kirby starts murmuring to herself, too quiet to hear, but she's praying, summoning her courage, deep breath, and then she dives into the lake and starts swimming for shore with everything she's got. Sloane shouts desperately.
Come on, swim. You can make it.
Kirby swims exhaustedly. Closer, closer. And then Kirby gets yanked under the surface.
No.
But there's nothing Sloane can do. She stares at the lake, hoping Kirby will resurface, but there's only air bubbles and ripples under silence as we go underwater. Into the murky darkness of the lake, close on Kirby as she gets dragged down, the killer's hand gripping her ankle. It seems to have happened in slow motion. Kirby struggling, getting dragged deeper and deeper. She looks down and she sees the huge dark shape of the killer, pulling her closer, his hands grasping higher and higher up on her body. All around him, the bodies of her dead friends, Kevin, Amber, Dylan, Greg, Weezer, Duckworth, Nurse Nicole, all gathered, lifeless, in the weeds at the bottom of the lake, suspended there, an eerie, surreal image in 3D. And Kirby screams underwater, bubbles rushing from her mouth as the killer drags her down far enough to clutch her face. Exterior lakeshore day. Sloane stares in horror as blood begins to bubble up, reddening the water. Sloane begins to run towards the boat shed.
Guys, come on. We got to go.
Brad and Vanessa emerge as Sloane runs up and dazed.
Where's Kirby?
He pulled her under.
What do you mean?
Did you see him go in?
They're confused. Sloane speaks slowly, shaking but calm.
It's the boy who drowned. He's dead. He's been in the lake, and we woke him up.
Brad and Vanessa share a look. They think she's lost it.
He's not a person you can't kill him because he's already dead.
Sloane, stop.
Hey, let's go before he comes back.
Lake, rotted dock. They've circled the lake and come to the far side. We recognize this spot.
If we
they're
go
back.
straight,
Oh, good.
If we go straight through, we'll hit the road a half mile from town.
As they enter the woods, Sloane looks back at the lake. Exterior woods, dusk. Premature dusk has fallen. Overcast sky and shadows make it feel like night. Looking up, they see a familiar sign on the ground. Camp Crystal Lake. This is the old camp. 3 bloodied, beleaguered counselors stagger into it.
Should have never come here.
Behind them, branches crack. Heavy footsteps. It's him.
Shit, go!
They head for the woods on the far side of camp. If they can make it there, they can at least won't be in plain sight. Too late. The killer emerges. He doesn't seem injured anymore. If anything, he moves with more confidence, as if he's grown stronger.
Come on!
They head for the woods. He follows relentlessly as we cut to the woods. Brad, Sloane, and Vanessa flee in the dark woods. It's starting to rain again. Thunder, flashes of lightning. They're exhausted. They stagger down an embankment into a gurgling stream where Dylan died. Vanessa stops, exhausted. Sloane grabs her. Gotta keep going. Brad looks over his shoulder with hatred. Behind them, they can hear the killer crashing through the woods. A little later, still staggering through the woods, bone tired, it's raining much harder now, storming. When they emerge into an overgrown backyard night, continuous. Lightning illuminates a wreck of a backyard. High, wild grass, chained up mastiff, barking. Big old house. Interior, old house, mudroom, night, desperately banging on the back door.
Hello? Hello? We need help.
We hear footsteps. Someone coming. Reveal, Linda King. The lady from town with the artificial arm. She opens the door to see Brad, Sloan, and Vanessa, filthy, bloody, and soaked.
Oh my goodness, what happened here?
Interior old house, living room, night. Eccentric, messy living room, glass animal figures all over. The floor's a mess, boards, nails, hammers, etc. lying about. Linda King was in the middle of building a table. The counselors rushed in for the phone, Linda King following.
Usually the lines go down the second it starts to rain.
Vanessa grabs the phone, praying it has a dial tone, and she does. The fucking phone works. She dials 911. 911, what's your emergency?
Someone killed my friends, and he's outside. I'm in a house. I'm at
3638 Stevens Road.
638 Stevens Road, outside Crystal Lake. Please, he's gonna kill us.
3638 Stevens Road by Crystal Lake. I know exactly where that is. I'm dispatching law enforcement right now. Are you currently in danger?
Yes!
As Vanessa answers 911's question, Sloan turns to Linda King.
Do you have a car?
My son borrowed the truck. Hold on.
She goes into another room. Meanwhile, Brad's looking out the window, scanning the yard with a mix of terror and fury. Brad's POV, an empty yard, raining darkness, a flash of lightning reveals nothing. Linda King returns with an old double-barrel shotgun.
It's just birdshot. I use it for the crows, but it'll scare him.
That's not going to scare him.
But Linda King is not listening. She has noticed Sloan's charm bracelet, the one she found in the old camp. Sloan's been wearing it this whole time. Linda stares at it with a strange look.
What?
Where did you get that?
Before Sloan can answer, ferocious barking from the backyard, and then the barking stops sharply. Cut off. Brad, who had turned away from the window, looks back and stares.
What?
Brad doesn't answer. She joins him at the window. Through the window, the killer standing in the rain. Way back by the trees, the huge mastiff laying dead. The killer starts walking towards the house.
Shit. We got to get out of here.
No.
What?
On Vanessa, talking breathlessly to 911.
He's here. He's outside. Fucking get here now.
Law enforcement is a few minutes out. On Brad, gripping the axe, resolute. He's made a choice.
I'm done running from this guy.
Sloan grabs Brad's arm, hisses urgently. This is it.
Brad, we have to go now.
He killed Kevin and Amber and Kirby, and he's going to kill us too unless we stop him.
The back porch starts to creak as the killer climbs them.
Brad, it's him. It's the little boy. He's already dead.
He's just a man, and he can be killed.
Heavy boots crossing the back porch, and then bang! Interior old mudroom house. The back door just got kicked open as if it was blown by a hurricane, literally off its hinges. And standing there, the killer, framed menacingly in the doorway. The old house, living room. Sloan backs away from Brad. Her instinct is to run. She glances at Vanessa, holding a phone, starting to wheeze.
He's here. He's in the house now.
Brad readies the axe, stealing himself. Vanessa starts wheezing harder as an asthma attack's starting.
Hey, asshole. Turn around now and walk out of my house or...
The killer walks into the room like a force of nature. Linda King fires the shotgun. The birdshot hits the killer, but he just knocks the gun out of the way. Brad screams and hacks at him with the axe. Brad is a force of nature too, rage and anguish surging out. It's primal. Vanessa sinks into the floor, helpless. Her asthma attack much worse than earlier, seizing her. Linda King hits at the killer, but he rips out her artificial arm and starts bludgeoning her to death with it. Sloan glances at the front door. A choice: flee and escape with her life or stay and help. A panic beat, then Sloan dashes into the kitchen. Brad swings the axe at the killer. It lodges in his back. In the kitchen, Sloan grabs a butcher knife. Back in the living room, the killer turns to Brad, advances on him. Vanessa's on her knees, struggling to breathe as the tiny 911 voice talks incessantly somewhere, and Sloan reappears with the butcher knife, lets out a scream, and plunges it into the killer's back. Starting now, this is an epic close quarters, grab anything, life or death brawl. Sloan stabs the killer over and over in a frenzy. He knocks her away. She drops the knife. He grips her throat, lifts her up, and slams her against the wall, choking her. Linda King, bloody, as we thought she was dead, grabs the dropped butcher knife and stabs behind the killer's knee. He falters, then stomps Linda's skull, finishing her while she's still holding Sloan up by her neck.
Put her down, motherfucker!
Brad grabs the shotgun and fires the other barrel of birdshot into the base of the killer's neck, making him flinch and release Sloan, who slumps to the floor, gasping. The killer staggers. These hits are taking a great gradual toll. Brad grabs the fallen axe and hacks the back of the killer's other knee, like trying to chop down an oak. The killer loses his footing and crashes to the floor. He reaches for his machete, but Vanessa grabs it away. She's too weak to fight, but at least she can do it. Her lips are turning blue. Brad chops down at the killer with the axe. Unbridled, cathartic savagery. Sloan grabs his knife and stabs. The killer kicks back away and grabs Sloan's throat again. Brad sees something on the floor near Linda King's half-completed table, a nail gun. He grabs it, presses the nail gun to the killer's spine, and fires. Bam, bam, bam. The killer's body jolts with each nail. He's getting weaker, but he's still choking Sloan. She's turning purple. Brad puts the nail gun to the back of the killer's head.
Let her go!
Brad fires the last nail into the killer's head. The killer jerks forward. He grips his grip weakens and Sloan slips free, faintly now. Sirens can be heard in the distance. Somehow the killer is not dead. He's moving weakly. He looks at Sloan, then the black eye holes aimed at her. Close in the eye holes, glimpses of the eyes behind them. In the shadowed, covered with milky film, eyes that have been underwater, but blue and childlike. They move, fixating on the charm bracelet on Sloan's wrist. The killer notices it, knows it, begins to reach for it. This is just a very brief moment, but Sloan clocks it before Brad grabs a fireplace poker, stands over the killer, speaks quietly, almost calmly.
Hey, shh, it's over.
Brad stabs the poker into the eye hole and pushes it down deeper and deeper with all of his weight, calmly talking.
Shh, there you go. This is for Kevin, you fucking dick. Hick, there you go. Now you're dead.
We hear the wet, meaty crunching as the poker is driven through the killer's head, down into the back of his skull. The killer finally goes still, dead. Brad slumps against the wall, drained but triumphant. He looks at Sloan.
See?
But Sloan just looks at the killer with dread and disbelief. She doesn't say it, but she does not believe he's dead. Sloan looks from the killer to her own wrist, the charm bracelet. He recognized it. Shuddering, Sloan takes the bracelet off and shoves it in her pocket, watching the killer as if it might take any moment. Across the room, Vanessa's on the floor, half conscious, gasping. The sirens are close now, arriving outside. Off Sloan, fearfully watching the killer and Vanessa's bluish lips of waxy skin, we fade to a shot of Vanessa wearing an oxygen mask. Just a hint of dawn sunlight on Vanessa's face. Bruised, battered, hair ragged in tangles, but alive. She is at the town's main street just before dawn. In town, on Main Street, sitting on the open back of an ambulance, being treated by a couple of paramedics. Sloan and Brad sit with her, wrapped in blankets, haunted and brutalized, but united by what they've been through. With the sun about to rise over the horizon, there's a sense of finality, a new morning. The horror is finally over. Cop cars are parked nearby. Cops stand around, radios crackling. The area is buzzing. The sheriff's car arrives. Sheriff John Marco gets out and walks up to the slow-witted Deputy Wyatt. The sheriff is shaken up, though he tries to maintain his cool. With the sheriff and deputy out of the counselor's hearing, Sheriff Marco nods towards Sloan, Brad, and Vanessa.
What are they still doing here?
Dan, you're muted.
I said, what are they still doing here, Dan?
Hang on, I'm on. Dan, you're muted.
Oh, shit.
There you go. All right, you're good now.
Oh, am I good now?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
What are they still doing here?
They wouldn't let us take him to the hospital till you got back. Want to know if anybody was still alive up there.
Alive? Are you kidding me? This motherfucker went up there and he killed everything with a nipple.
He only killed girls?
The sheriff stares at him like he's an idiot, then he'd rather harshly pinches Deputy Wyatt's nipple.
What's that?
With that, Brad, Sloan, and Vanessa sitting on the back of the ambulance. Sloan is scared, uneasy, and dazed. Brad is spent. Vanessa pulls her oxygen mask aside.
You guys did it. You stopped him.
Sloan says nothing, skepticism in her eyes. Did we? Brad looks over numbly. The experience has changed him.
Now what?
Vanessa doesn't have an answer. Sheriff John and Deputy Wyatt approach respectfully.
Well, we're going to get you kids over to St. Barney's. I'm real sorry to tell you, but there wasn't anybody left alive at the camp.
The sheriff hovers uneasily. Then,
now, you all have ideas why he came after you, right?
Sloan speaks with a quiet certainty.
Maybe because we trespassed or because we were disrespectful. Or maybe we just remind him of some kids he knew a long time ago.
Well, you can use that past tense, honey. This guy's deader than disco.
Sloan gives him a strange look. A you have no idea look.
What you don't think so? Go look in the van over there. Take a peek.
He nods to the nondescript morgue van parked across the street.
He ain't nothing but a big hunk of pork with boots on. Ed's about to drive him over to the county morgue. Now, what do you mean you trespassed? You know who this guy is.
In the background, the morgue van starts backing up and turning.
It's Mrs. Voorhees' little boy.
It was some tweaker redneck on God knows what. And now he's dead, okay?
Oh, Pamela Voorhees? No. She only had one little boy, and he drowned in the lake 22 years ago.
In the background, the morgue van is driving away quietly.
It's him, and he is dead. I don't know if he's done.
She watches the morgue van drive slowly off down the street, sunrise bathing the town in warm, renewing light. The sheriff looks at Sloan sympathetically. She's delusional.
You know, you've had a real hard night, honey. Shit, I can't even recall the little boy's name. What is it now? Johnny.
I know his name. His name was...
She trails off, noticing something strange down the street. The morgue van has slowed down and begun to drift off course, just sort of rolling along as if no one is at the wheel. And now everyone is watching as the van gently clinks to a stop against the streetlight pole. A beat, silence. Nothing moves. The van just sits there. Sloan absently finishes her sentence.
Jason Voorhees.
Bam! The back of the van fucking flies open and the killer steps out, a.k.a. Jason. Push in slowly on this nightmare hero shot. Jason looming, iconic, badass, terrifying. He's holding a fucking bone saw. Behind him, inside of the van, is covered in blood. And maybe it's just the angle, but he's almost looks bigger than before, as if dying made him even stronger. Sloan, Vanessa, Brad, and the cops stare in incredulous horror. Those dead black eye holes are looking right at them.
What the fuck?
Jason starts running toward them. No hesitation. What follows is pure mayhem. If Jason was relentless before, he's fucking unstoppable now. Shocking speed and force. A cop steps up in Jason's way, pulling his gun, and Jason slashes his throat with the bone saw. The sheriff gets off a few shots, but Jason knocks him aside, going straight for Brad.
No, no, no!
Jason slams the bone saw into Brad's skull. He grabs Brad's hair and, holding his head in place, yanks the saw back and forth, sawing his skull in two. A crack as Jason splits the sides of Brad's skulls apart. Brad's body falls. Vanessa and Sloan stare in shock. Jason turns to kill them when, bam, 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 the sheriff shoots him in the back. Jason pivots and knocks the gun away, advances on the sheriff, hacks him with the bone saw, killing him. Bystanders scream. Deputy Wyatt gawks. Other cops fire at Jason. Shots miss, nearly hitting Sloan and Vanessa, snapping them out of their shock.
Come on!
Deputy Wyatt is surprisingly show of bravery. Tries to hustle Sloan and Vanessa to safety.
Over here!
They go to the sheriff's car. Deputy Wyatt grabs a 12-gauge shotgun, turns to shoot, but Jason rushes up behind them and slashes Deputy Wyatt's throat with the bone saw. Wyatt falls, dropping the shotgun, bleeding out. Vanessa screams and scrambles away across the asphalt. Sloan is backed up against the car. Jason looks at her. She's next. With nowhere to go, she opens up the cop car and, inside the cop car, scrambles into the back seat, closing the door, intending to exit the other side, but of course, it's locked. You can't open it from the inside because it's the back of a fucking cop car.
Fuck.
Jason stares at the window through her. She's trapped like an animal caged for slaughter. Oh shit. But on the main street, Jason turns to deal with the cops who are now closing in and shooting him. Sloan's not going anywhere. Vanessa backs away across the asphalt in the middle of this, just trying to stay down as the handguns fire all over. Jason walks right in front of the cops who shoot him. He staggers and jerks, but doesn't go down, doesn't even slow down, goes to the cops, and Jesus, this is brutal, all-out carnage, broad daylight, rampage in public as Jason lays waste to the cops like a fucking beast, slashing and hacking with the bone saw, bludgeoning, breaking their necks, smashing their skulls. Sloane, trapped in the cop car. She sees Vanessa cowering on the asphalt, trying to crawl away from the mayhem. Vanessa sees Sloane trapped in the car, desperation on Sloane's face. Vanessa can't leave her behind, but Jason is between them. He's occupied now, killing cops, but to free Sloane, Vanessa will have to get past him. Inside the cop car, Sloane frantically tries to kick out the window. No luck. She tries to kick out the mesh cage, trapping her in the back seat. Even less luck. In the town, Vanessa edges towards the cop car, but Jason's too close. She scrambles back, afraid of drawing his attention. She can't get past him, but then Jason sees the local teenager watching all of this from about 30 feet away. Jason heads right for the kid. The teenager tries to run, but it's too late. Vanessa sees Jason killing the teenager. This is her chance. She has a clear path to the cop car. She goes for it. Sloane sees her coming. Vanessa steps over Deputy Wyatt's corpse, opens the car door, freeing Sloane. Relief on Sloane's face, abruptly turning to horror. Reveal Jason rushing up behind Vanessa, bone saw in hand. Vanessa turns and sees him, but it's too late. He slams her head against the car brutally. She goes limp and falls to the asphalt. She's an afterthought. He wants Sloane. She yanks the car door closed again, and Jason looks in at her. He wants something from her. Inside the sheriff's car, Sloane cowers, helpless. In the back of the car, Jason punches through the window, showering her with glass. He reaches in. She has nowhere to go, terrifying. Jason's enormous arms groping at her, grabbing her legs. He seizes her, starts dragging her. In the town, outside the car, from the car, Sloane screaming and fighting.
No, please, I'm sorry.
It's no use. Jason picks her up with one hand and slams her against the back of the sheriff's car, pinning her. With this other hand, he raises the bone saw for the kill. In Sloane's POV for this terrifying sight, looking up at Jason, silhouetted against the crisp blue sky, jagged weapon raised, a searing, mythic image. This is it. She's going to die. Instinctively, she begs.
Please, Jason.
And Jason hesitates. A beat. He heard his name. He's still poised to kill her, though.
Jason, wait. I know it's you. I know. Hold on.
She fumbles in her pocket and pulls out the charm bracelet. She holds it out to him, voice shaking.
Look, here. It's for you. Was this your mother's? It's yours now, Jason. Just take it.
Jason stares at the bracelet. Then slowly he sets the bone saw on the cop car's roof. He takes the bracelet. Holds it in his huge hand, staring at it. The angle of his head suggests a childlike sadness. Sloane doesn't breathe. Holy fucking shit, is this happening? Is he actually going to let her live?
It's okay, Jason. You can stop.
As she speaks, Sloane slowly reaches out towards Jason's face, reaching for his mask.
We did a bad thing. We didn't know. And we're sorry. We're really, really, really sorry.
With something almost like tenderness, she reaches behind the mask and undoes the buckle. Jason doesn't stop her. He's still looking at the bracelet in that sad little boy way.
So now you can rest. Just like your mom, okay?
Slowly, Sloane takes his mask off, revealing Jason's face. Swollen, gray, and grotesquely baby-like, dumb cow eyes. But the most disturbing thing is Jason's expression. It's not a look of sadness. It's a look of crazed energy, almost glee. He loves this. Nope, he's not going to let her live. Jason picks up the bone saw again and raises it to deliver a killing blow. Boom! Half of Jason's face gets blown off. Reveal Vanessa holding the 12-gauge shotgun. Let her go.
Let her go, motherfucker.
Vanessa looks like a complete badass. This is her hero moment. She fires again. Boom, boom, boom. Each close range 12-gauge blast knocking Jason back, making him drop Sloane and stagger backward.
Come on, Sloane.
Sloane grabs a dead cop's handgun and starts firing too, both girls shooting, forcing Jason backward. And now the gunfire comes from other places, cops who got knocked down but not killed, making Jason twitch it and shudder. Boom, boom, click. The shotgun's empty. Jason starts toward them again, still taking fire.
Come on.
Vanessa grabs Sloane, pulls her towards another cop car.
I'll drive.
Vanessa opens the door as they jump in. Inside the cop's car, Vanessa grabs has the keys from a dead cop, Jason strides towards them, maskless, awful face exposed as she starts the engine.
Come on.
Vanessa fucking floors it right into Jason. You feel the impact in your skull as they smash him, his huge body slamming in the windshield. He hits the hood and clings there. Vanessa slams the brake and sends him flying into the road.
Go.
And Vanessa floors it again, running over Jason. On the street, close on Jason's half-destroyed face, being crushed more under the tires of a police car. We hear wet crunching. In the car,
Fuck you, Jason.
Vanessa hits the gas as they zoom up Main Street, navigating through the carnage, the bodies, and the blood. As they drive out of town, Sloan looks back, and Vanessa glances in the rearview mirror as they see Jason just getting back up and putting his mask back on. Vanessa hits the gas, speeding away. Stay with Sloan and Vanessa as they drive out of the little town of Crystal Lake. A lingering shot of our two final girls, exhausted but keyed up with so much adrenaline, bruised, bloody, hair wild, glancing at each other with amazement and belief, now bonded by their unspeakable ordeal. Two ordinary but extraordinary young women who have been through hell and survived. Back in town, the carnage they left behind, blood pooled in the street, broken bodies, cops, paramedics, bystanders, and Jason Voorhees, just standing there amidst the bloodshed, mask in place, bone saw in hand. He looks around. All is well. Nothing more to do. He turns to go, walking right up Main Street like he owns it. And off this last shot of Jason walking into the sunrise, we hard cut to black, and the credits come up, Friday the 13th. Credits roll, and over black, we get some snowflakes. We go back to the town in the dead of winter. The snowy town of Crystal Lake. In the dead of winter, it's dark and eerily quiet. A ghost town utterly abandoned, except for a single set of boot prints in the snow. And off that, we fade to black. The end. Wow.
Yay.
Wow, that was a lot. Wow,
Wow.
215, only 215 comments sitting there behind. Cool. That was a lot. Holy shit. Thank you, everybody. Oh, Joe, I just now saw that you have the dead on. I wish everybody who would have had that. I think everyone stuck around. Let me see how many. I can't even see how many people we still have watching, but I'm sure there's a bunch there. So, what did everybody think of that? What did everybody think of Friday the 13th, 2015 3D?
Very cool.
Yeah, I liked it.
I
No,
like
it's a nice, it starts off with this nice coming of age film with, the end of summer, the end of camp. And it's a little different than a lot of the Friday the 13th movie because most of them, they start off with kids coming to the camp as they're preparing. They're already there. So they're getting ready to leave and shut it down. So, it's a little different other than, part 6 where there's kids at the camp as well. But, the soundtrack's fun. It's got a nice 80s vibe. They took a little different approach with the timeline as far as, the age and everything. But I love this story. We talked before, there's a few things that were, a little, I thought could change. But that's my opinion. But, overall, I love this script. I would have loved to have seen this.
Yeah, I definitely would have loved to have seen this. How about you, Kylie? What do you think? I know you're a big Friday fan. What's your thoughts on it?
Are you joking or?
No, I'm serious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm not as deeply in it as everyone else, I feel like. So I don't know. I like that there's 2 final girls. That I think the ending is definitely my favorite part. And I like that there's like subversions on the sex tropes. So I guess no, Kevin wasn't he didn't die a virgin, but Kirby did, so that's fun. Yeah.
That's fine.
Kirby Butters.
Joe, what do you think? Because you hadn't read the script before, right, Joe? You didn't know.
No,
about
see, I thought I did, but apparently the script I read 1,000 years ago was the one where it was Pamela and Elias killing people.
Yeah, which I think we're going to do another week. I think we'll take some time and then we'll come back and do that version, the Aaron Guzanowski script, which I think would be a lot of fun, which should be really cool. Lisa, how did you like being Vanessa? That was a fun character.
I loved it, and I especially loved that I didn't die.
Yeah, you made it out. You and Lauren made it out. How about you, Lauren? You ended up being you become sort of the Ginny of this thing. Like you see the vision, you trick Jason, it ends up working out in your favor. You're the dark horse in this
Yeah.
movie.
Hmm.
You're the
Oh
big-
man, I loved it. I had so much fun. Had so much fun reading it for the first time. Had so much fun now with everyone. I loved it. And I also just get weirdly giddy every time they describe how Jason kills somebody. I don't know what that says about me, but I fucking love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good writing in here. I really like the way the script is written. It was fun. It's a fun read, and I had fun reading it. I remember reading it many years ago. I've kind of skimmed through it, I think, but it was a lot of things. Elena, how about your thoughts?
Hi, here I
We
am.
thought Amber was going to make it out. I mean, Amber's
Oh my
kind of led.
gosh. I mean, that would have just been all according to plan. But everyone killed it for one. I just want to say you guys all totally killed it. I'm glad that there were 2 remaining girls. I feel like it's such like a 2015 era of horror where it felt like that these movies happened and everyone died in the end. And then they're like, oh, this is going to be like, that was the sort of trend that I remember happening. So it was nice that they lived, but yeah, I'm a little sad that Amber died, but it's okay.
Yeah, she gets her head smushed too.
She
That's
gets
pretty
smushed.
The
Yeah.
kills are really crazy. How about from one Jason to another, Dan? How would you rate the kills in this movie?
Well, they were pretty cool. The shovel and like,
I love the
bludgeoning
shovel.
and- yeah, I like the shovel, like the crunch kind of through it, like digging a hole while the guy's like still alive and stuff. So
Yeah, that was definitely a cool. I like the way that they described some of the shots, and they're saying that they wanted to stay wide. They wanted to sort of get eerily, so you can kind of see him standing in the field, just like you just get it what's going on without having.
do you kind of know or have an idea of who were they going to use for for Jason, and what kind of style maybe they were going for?
There was never any artwork released. If they were going to go through Platinum Dunes, I'm pretty sure they were going to bring Derek Mears back, because Derek was going to come back for the 2017 movie, and Derek was always their guy. I mean, I bump into him in conventions every now and then, and we talk, and he was just like, I was always just ready to go, and we'd be going, and then we weren't, and we'd be going, and then we weren't. So I think they were bringing back Derek. I don't know what they were going to do for his look. Obviously, they were going with undead, which was very interesting. They go with Platinum Dunes started with the alive approach, the human approach, and then they switched to this undead approach, which I like. For me, especially in the theater, it's just that Jason is more fun on screen. Like, that's the script that they should do. Ron, how about you? You've been through one of these before, or maybe a couple of these. How would it have been like to been in a Friday the 13th like this?
Oh no, this would have been great, and I got to give you guys all a round of applause. I was like totally taken in with all you. It was so great watching you and making it come to life. And I mean, right on the money. And I think, it's interesting because I get the vibe, even though now, is this the first time you guys have seen each other and talked so what's
I mean, we
nice-
all know each other, but to a certain degree, but this is the first time we ever came out and just cold read. Everybody got to read the script this week. I maybe practiced a few pages earlier this week, but I really just dove in tonight.
Well, what was cool was, I believe, the relationships. You guys were a family, you were friends, and it came across in the read. So it would have been like tremendous in the shoot. And
honestly, I think my instincts were correct with Joe, because Joe, I really think you captured the Kevin. Like, Joe's not a trained actor, but you just had sort of the tone and the natural kind of I was like, I think Joe just fits. You kind of had that. You did a good job. So for someone who has never done this before, who's never been in a table read, you did excellent, Joe.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, it was great. I think it was a lot of fun. But I know you guys have been here all night, been here for almost 2.5 hours with me. So I'm going to say goodbye to you all. I'm going to say goodbye to the fans, but thank you all for joining me this week. And hopefully maybe in another month or two, we can come back again and do Friday the 13th, 2017, which is not in 3D, but we'll do that another day. So you guys all have a wonderful night, and they're going to flip out one by one.
Bye.
See you in hell.
Real nice.
All right, I accidentally killed myself there, but now I'm back. So yes, thank you everybody for tuning into this week's Ghost Files. This is a long one. For the 20 or so people that are still sticking around, I really appreciate that you stuck through this long. You know, I appreciate that you watched. Definitely tell your friends about this. This is something that everyone can jump around and watch. You can share this link later on this week. This would be a great thing to bring up if the film ever comes up. I really do appreciate it. Next week, once again, I am not sure what I'm going to do, but we're going to come up with something. I think I'm going to take it a little bit lighter. I think I just talked myself to death. I had this big giant Reese's cup of tea with honey to keep me kind of there. But before I go, I do want to give a special shout out to Allie Girl for supporting the channel this week in a very wonderful fashion. She ended up backing, helping us out with the Ghost Files Amazon list. I was able to get some soundproofing. We're not using it just yet. I'm going to set up an entire space once more pieces come in. But if you want to support the channel, remember you can always drop a super chat in the chat over there. You can always you check out our wish list to help grow the channel, things like microphones and lights and other things I can decorate this room with and run more power cords and just get a little bit more of a powerful stream going. Maybe next week we'll have a guest. Maybe next week we'll tell a story. Not so much, but if you want to support the channel, all that link and stuff down there. And remember, the Never Hike Alone 2 Indiegogo campaign closes on March 31st. We're seeing more orders come in. If you need your credits changed, anything like that, wompstompfilms@gmail.com. I think I covered everything. But so with that, I will say, everyone, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on the trails.